Big up, big up, big up, big up to everyone out there. I'm the Liberal 12th man, just as much as you are. And I am going to be doing, my little Wednesday walkabout. Good evening, Reds as well. Yes, big up, Lee. And we're going to do a little walkabout, just kind of like go over some of the things that are kind of like trending right now in the news, because there is some, I guess, relatively big news. It's depending on how you look at it, or I guess depending on your affection for the actual individual. But we are going to be taking a look at um, Pep leaving and getting a new club, walking into a new club. We got the Irishman with us today as well. I'll bring him in. Big up, Irishman. How are you?
Hey, how we doing? I'm very good.
Good, good. Yeah, we're kicking it off. Big up, Real and Jared as well. Um, we are kicking it off with just getting into these hot topics pretty much from the very gate. I've got like 3 or 4 different topics here for today. And I thought it'd be best to start off with the first topic, and that was Pep Linders basically signing and announcing his new deal. And also, he'd already pretty much said his goodbye in essence, but now this is more of an official goodbye. Like a lot of, this is the end of this era, and he's been a very big part of it, and now he's moving on to other confides. I can read you the quote. He's saying, "From the bottom of my heart, I just hope that our paths cross again in the future. That would be absolutely unbelievable." As Pep Linders, when asked if he'd consider returning to Liverpool at a later stage in his career. Very interesting comment right there. Um,
Well, if he gets the opportunity, he'll have done very well. It's
yeah,
not
I
something
mean,
that I don't think he's in a position to say I'll come back. I think he might need to be asked back. So
yeah, yeah, he would have to be asked back for sure. But there are some other. What was notable is, I guess, why he could be trying to say that, or at least why that could be a consideration, is depending on what he does in the very not distant but present, or upcoming future, because of this announcement as well. He is going to RB Salzburg. He will be now the new coach of RB Salzburg, who is not a pushover team. I mean, it's a team that we actually heavily deal with. Obviously, there's been reports, or there was a report talking about just that, about how this will solidify a even better relationship with the club between Liverpool as well. So it's very interesting that
that's a
this is
big
the club that
compliment.
he's going to be taking on. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like the Ajax rumors. I didn't think he'd done enough to get the Ajax job. So I thought that level, Salzburg is that's a Champions League club with very good players and a very good like a scouting network type system similar to what ourselves are used. So it's very good fit for someone who's an out and out coach.
Right.
As someone who will be happy to. I mean, because they don't mess around. They bring in players that are
They bring in, yeah,
there to be
their talent level is
there to be
very,
made
very good.
profit on. Yeah, I mean, the likes of Erling Haaland went through there, so he'll be coaching some very good players, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's a couple of friendlies because we played them a couple of times now since they became Red Bull, Salzburg and
Hmm.
all that. We got
Hmm.
um, we got connections there, so yeah, I think that sounds about right for him. Yeah, I hadn't heard that until you showed it. I didn't know where he was after going, so. Like I say, I thought, it was obvious talk about him going back to Holland. I thought the Ajax job. I was just thinking if I was an Ajax fan, he's not a name that I'd be looking at. But
Yeah.
yeah, I can see that working for
Why?
him.
Why would you say?
Champions League.
Why would you say that then? Especially considering, I'm just asking the question. I'm not judging. I'm just asking, um, because just considering that. Ajax is in the state that they're in the sense of like they're in a bad place considering their much storied history.
And just if he doesn't really have the profile, he only really has one failed manager stint. So he's very good, an excellent coach, but they need someone to come in and really turn that ship around. So I think they needed a big appointment. Really, I just thought, yeah, he's a great coach and all that, but yeah, it's because of the state they're in. They really need someone to come in that they can get behind. And they tend to go for their, they have a big thing about former players and ex-players and all that. So yeah, it's because of the big job that's on there at Ajax. It's just as a Ajax fan, I'd want to see someone coming in and okay, that guy. But not something I put a huge amount of thought into. But Salzburg is a very good side. They'll be expected to win the league. He'll be expected to win the Austrian league. So it won't be
yeah, there's
an
no
easy enough job for him.
how about this because you're speaking on Ajax, who obviously is a very high profile team in Holland, but RB Salzburg is no slouch. I mean, Red Bull organization very much puts good money into their teams, and he'll have support. He has a very disciplined and structured youth academy or youth system, I should say, for the club he's going to. It's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, they've completely dominated. To be honest, in the last 10 or 12 years, they have completely dominated Austrian football. So he's going to have to. Yeah, he's going to have a. It's a nice level to go into.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really nice level to start at. I think start again. I think it was Breda he went to. Was it NEC Breda he went to? He left Klopp the first time he went back to Holland.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I think he was there about 6 months and it wasn't working well. Then he came back.
It didn't work out for him.
So hopefully,
yeah.
I think he went a bit early. That's all. I just think he went a bit early. Maybe he'll have more. And Klopp was so happy to have him back. There's no doubt about his ability as a coach. So yeah, you might see him back in the. Yeah, I hate the way the manager. If he works well, I've no doubt you'll see him back in the Premier League someday. Right. Whether at Liverpool or not. But yeah, a good coach like that with a good name and links to this our era here, won't be short of interest.
Yeah, I was trying to look up where it was. I remember that when he originally came to the club, he was the under-16 coach. Was his first real gig with us, at least, and then he eventually got appointed to where he got the assistant head coach gig for us as well. There's a lot of talk too. I understand that Pep can be somewhat of a divisive figure, I guess you say, in a sense, because of sometimes he is, the book, as I saw Lee mention earlier. Yeah.
Yeah, the book.
The book that he said how he's basically it bored him to death. Let me make sure I get his quote right. Lee says he likes Pep. His book bored him to death, but he thinks he is much maligned. Good luck to him. Yeah, and then Redbird goes on to say he has a feeling Pep thought he might have thought he'd be our next manager. That's why he was so out there with other number twos of the big clubs. With other number twos of the big clubs, do you hear of them? I'm gonna paraphrase. Do you hear of them doing interviews like he did? Which is true. I mean, there's not many that have the autonomy that he has, but I also think that it's a unique sensation, when it came to this club and Klopp. I think that one of the major differences between Pep and Klopp is what you got out of Arteta isn't the same personality, much less the same presentation or just relationship that you got out of from either the coach, from coach to coach, or even from assistant coach to the fan base as well. I think because Pep has had a relationship with so many of the youth academy players, considering what I just said about having him coach possibly some of these players when they were part of that 16 and under squad, or or having coached other aspects of the youth academy, and then going on to coach a lot of the cup games for us as well. There's a storied history though that you can create when you have that kind of relationship, and I think Pep took advantage of that opportunity.
Yeah, I think I think the Klopp leaving thing as well comes into it, because there may have been a succession plan in place. If you know what I'm saying, there may have been an idea, maybe, but when Klopp decided, no, actually, I'm going to leave early and all of that, I think that kind of did it for Pep that way. Maybe we don't know. But I think as soon as Klopp said he was leaving, I think that was it. It was done.
Yeah,
everyone was going then. There was a lot of talk about him straight away, but he came out himself pretty quickly and quashed it and saying, no, we're all going. I'm gone. I'm leaving.
Yeah. I mean, there was the hint, or at least not the hint, but there was at least maybe some speculation that he could be the next coach. I mean, like, it would be a pretty much seamless transition, considering.
Well, that's what I was saying, that there was he was high up with the bookies, and he came out and kind of quashed it himself, as if to say, don't ask me every week. I'll tell you now, basically. And that was pretty quickly after the whole Klopp thing. He didn't even let it get to the point where we're 4 weeks away and there's been no announcement. He came out and he did the right thing, I think, in just saying, no, I will 100% leave when Klopp leaves.
When Klopp does, when the boss leaves, I'm leaving with them. Right.
Yeah, I might be back in the future and all that. You get that now, but he came out straight away and said, I won't be.
Who knows? Manager, so. I mean, like, we could see him maybe in Champions League. Who knows? That'd be one way of coming back as well, which is kind of crazy.
Well, that's a very because of the way you get drawn and all of that. There's a very good chance that we would get a Salzburg in a Champions League draw. It's that wouldn't be a wild card at all. So it wouldn't be. He might be back sooner than we were all thinking.
Yeah. Realism Jarrett says this. He goes, Klopp relinquishing the League Cup duties to Pep shows that Klopp didn't have the energy for all of it. Normally, though, that's an interesting take. I will say, normally, though, a lot of times you will see the head coach, at least in the early stages, allowing for the assistant coach to be the coach for those draws or for that competition.
He almost did it like his goalkeeper. Sydney was like, right, you're cup goalkeeper. From match one to match to the final, you were the cup goal. It's like he said the same with Linders. It's like, nope, from League Cup.
You're cup coach. Yeah,
you're cup coach. Yeah, nobody does that. That's nobody really does that.
Yeah,
in such a kind of he might kind of give him a bit more control behind, but it was quite sort of, no, Pep is the coach.
Yeah, because he was doing the pressers and and like right. And I thought that was pretty cool. In that, again, if you were a fan of this system, if you're a fan of all that Klopp has set up, and eventually knowing that Klopp would eventually have to move on, as in age is inevitable for all of us, and so if you knew that and you had the situation where you have the assistant coach that is getting more involved, then maybe he is trying to set him up for a natural transition to take over for him. And that's why it was for me a little bit, I wouldn't say surprised, but I was more so, I wouldn't have been against Pep being our coach if the circumstances were set up more so in the sense of if the things that we had seen in the last 2 years had gone better, basically,
Yeah, I think it's like what Jared was saying there earlier on. I think it is a part of Klopp realizing that there was only a certain amount of energy left in the tank, and never mind it. Just Google how old is Klopp. Oh,
Yeah,
Jared,
yeah. No, he answered it
well,
for
Lee
you.
is out.
Lee got
Um,
Jared. Lee is 56 is how old he is. Yep.
just maybe learn to delegate a bit, knowing that that would help him have more energy for the other games. Maybe that was a part of his thinking as well.
Hmm.
And of course, couldn't help Pep. Pep's not a it's a great experience for him as well. Again, it's a very unusual situation. But I think maybe, yeah, it was part of Klopp as well going, this gives me a bit of not a night off, but just allows me to save some of my energy that he could obviously quite clearly feel was
Yeah,
waning, as he
yeah,
said. So I think that comes down to it as well. And it's only when you look back that you realize that he was giving himself maybe that bit extra time off almost mentally,
yeah,
I suppose. Just let Pep handle it. Even just handling the press and doing the media, just having you know, to sit there and do those things, not having to do that for a day. That's probably a great weight off Klopp's mind when he's in that kind of
yeah.
I don't need this shit anymore kind of frame of mind. Like,
Well, I mean, it
uh,
goes along also. I think it also goes along with what we've said quite often, even when it comes to like, the FSG model in the sense of delegating responsibility, where you can do it, where you can take a lot off, take some of the
clever
pressure
man.
or the time and hours so that it would, consume of your life. If you can delegate these responsibilities to someone that you trust and that can get results, then why not deal with what we got to deal
And
with,
if it goes hand in hand with allowing that guy to take over, or worst case scenario, go on and do a better job later on. But yeah, it is a way of giving someone literally work experience at an extremely high level. But it is basically just let him run that machine for the day because he's only ever going to learn to run the machine by running the machine.
Right.
I mean, that's it.
Exactly. Exactly.
Just you can tell
Exactly.
him how it works 1,000 times. He's got one of these days going to have to put his hands on it and run it himself.
Yeah.
So
And I will admit that
that's
he does
another
not.
great story there.
He looks
Sorry,
like
I know we've talked about bonkers. Just saying.
no, it's kind of like that situation look, and this is why it's so interesting when it comes to when I hear a lot of people's takes on, well, I don't understand why he's leaving. I don't understand why he's leaving. Look, I remember when Barack Obama went into the presidency, he had like he had no grays. He was like, he looked all like young and ready for the job. Once he got out, he had like the salt and pepper was like rocking and rolling, like basically when you're in these high pressure, high not only high pressure, but also like high frequency jobs in the sense of a lot of like work and a lot of time and attention has to be applied to these jobs. It can age you quick, very quick, So
Yeah,
I mean,
it helps to be
him
grey
losing the
before you get
glasses
the job.
helped. Him losing the glasses helped, I think, him a little bit. Because you can only
Yeah,
imagine if we had the glasses and everything else, you would have been like, you would have thought you were looking at your grandfather as opposed to a
yeah.
father
You
figure.
look at Klopp on day one,
Yeah.
that first interview, that first press conference, that famous doubters to believers press conference. You look at him then. I was going to say he looks 10 years younger. Well, that's because he was 10 years younger. It was nearly
Yeah,
10 years ago.
exactly. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
but it
Makes
is,
sense.
yeah, it is quite obvious. But yeah, it's a remarkable achievement to have stayed in a job like that for that long. It's not so much why is he leaving? It's how has he lasted this long for me.
Hmm.
It's like
Hmm.
how has he managed to keep going at that level for that, you know,
Hmm.
5 years, I would have thought. The way he come, especially the kind of football he was playing, and it was so emotional. It was like, yeah, to have said, oh well, he'll be doing this for 10 years. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yeah. I have. I'll get into these last couple quotes here, and then we'll move on to our next topic. Basically, here's some of the quotes. 10 years of the club, and my boys don't know anything else. They are Scousers. I owe this club everything. I probably should have left that for the last clip because that's something of what I believe is like sometimes overlooked about Pep in that he has ingratiated himself into, like, he has really taken on and taken the city to heart, has really taken the club to heart. He's definitely always appreciated and understood the complexities of what the club means to the city as well and to this fan base. And you know, he mentions it quite often. I mean, like, he often, when he is trying to make you have that understanding, because I know a lot of people are sometimes very push offy on him. I guess that's not really a word, but like they might keep him at arm's length. He is someone that has really, really taken in the fact that, look, his family grew up here, or, like, his children, I should say, have grown up here. They've become
Oh,
Scousers.
his boys. Oh, sorry.
Yes.
I thought I thought it was just a quote about the young players. Yeah, yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right.
That's the thing. Yeah, well, you stay somewhere for that long, you have a kid after 2 years. Yeah, that's pretty much. Yeah, these kids are Scousers, pretty
The
much. Yeah.
Scousers. Yeah. And, like, they're born and raised there, and they like the concepts of, like, what it is to be, what that means, and what that takes on. And despite the fact that their father was born and raised in Holland, you know you appreciate your roots, but you also understand where you've been born, and you understand and you appreciate, like, the city for what it is. And that
But
is a
also,
beautiful community.
yeah, but also, yeah. I mean, these kids, and they're not inner city kids. Like, the kids at footballers and the coaches and the managers and stuff. They live in a very posh part of the world. Not, they would be from Liverpool, but they ain't born and raised city centre kids. Like, so there's also that. But yeah,
Right.
they're English as well as much as anything else. Some of these kids are born in England, but
Mhm.
yeah, no, they are Scousers. They love the club, but yeah, some of the part that I think it's Formby. Is it one? Some of the lads in the chat, I think it's Formby is where, like, all the kind of the posh houses are in Liverpool. I think that's where a lot of
Mhm.
them are. Um, I've seen pictures like where Gerrard and Klopp. Like, I think the next guy is moving into Klopp's house, and Klopp moved into Brendan Rodgers' house, and then he
Mhm.
bought Brendan Rodgers' house, and someone moved into Stevie Gerrard's house, and then
Yeah,
Mourinho.
yeah, yeah.
All
They
this
just play,
stuff.
like,
Like,
yeah. The
yeah,
real estate agent doesn't have much work to do. It's a new player, a new coach. Show them the old player, the old coach's house, and keep
yeah,
it moving.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, it's
Um,
good. It's good. I look forward to seeing how he gets on,
yeah,
because he needs to
yeah,
go and be a manager for. He needs to go and be the main guy for 4 or 5
yeah,
years. You know.
yeah. This last quote I'll bring up is, it's sad that we are leaving, but I'm really proud that we are part of the history now of this club. A history full of cups, a history full of talent, signings molded, created,
Look
pushed.
at the smile on Klopp. Sorry,
Oh,
sorry,
I
that
know.
was
Yeah,
very
sorry.
bad.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Pushed into world class players, a history full of special games. Yeah, Klopp's. Yeah,
That's
very, very.
horrific.
This is obviously the parade for when we won the double, actually.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but yes, certainly, certainly. You're rocking sunglasses. He's probably had a couple of brews. Who knows?
Oh, no better
Um,
man. No better man.
yeah,
And it's I suppose it'll make Wolves all the more raucous, I suppose, knowing that, like, that's it. There isn't going to be a bus parade with a trophy. If all the fans, if they want to sing their songs and show their appreciation, then it's going to have to happen on the weekend, because there's not going to be a big public kind of party, or one of those public square things. So this is going to be their only opportunity. So I'd imagine, hopefully they let them, maybe even they let them in early. I don't know if there's anyone in the chat that knows. Do they let people in early, or kind of
hmm
let them stay a bit later,
hmm
or whatever, to get the atmosphere? Because I imagine, like, the players going around the pitch, that would take a lot longer than the normal end of game stuff. So I'm assuming people are there, you kind of plan, like, ordinarily, say I'd be home at 6 from the match. Well, I'll be home at 8 from this match, because you'll be staying around a lot longer afterwards. Because that's it then. no parade, no big shows. He's off. He's out the door.
He's out the door. Yep. Guys didn't want a parade, so you don't, So now, I mean, we're having the argument. League Cup isn't valuable enough to have a parade for. Okay, well then I guess then you're not going to have a parade just because he's leaving. So,
No,
but,
he pulled the plug as well, didn't he? He said no, he said 9 to a parade. He said I don't want a thing, which is disappointing for some people, I suppose. But
it was, but
yeah,
it
I
wasn't.
hope it just
I wasn't
bumps up the
surprised. I
atmosphere.
wasn't surprised,
No,
considering.
no.
I meant like I wasn't surprised considering that he is someone that doesn't like to, how's it word? I'm thinking of the best word to put it. Like he doesn't, want to like he doesn't want to make it all about him. He doesn't want to make it like, he's not trying to make it. He likes to be humble
Yeah.
about it.
Even though it is kind of all about him on the last day, because we've won what we've won.
Yeah. Because
and
of
it is
a good reasoning is because of
when the whistle goes, that last hour or whatever, just I can imagine the atmosphere. Hopefully,
I hope it's
unless,
I hope it's a good one.
Even if it's silly and it's one of those silly, like really genuinely silly last days of the season game, and we're 2-0 down after half an hour, and ends up being 4-2. Just I'd imagine. Hopefully the atmosphere would just stay the same. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's 0-0, it'd just be songs from the start, all the cop stuff from the start, and don't let the atmosphere drop. Just keep it going.
Just keep it going. Yeah, despite whatever happens, just keep this. I'd like to see the kind of atmosphere like for when I'm trying to think who it was. I think it was Toulouse when they came and they actually, we were like absolutely destroying them at Anfield, but yet they still had this like, rock rolling style of like just happy to be in this moment, happy to be here, singing the songs, kind of like enjoying the moments. Like our third place finish is already solidified. Of course, everybody wants to win, obviously, but all the same, it's about like trying to enjoy the moment, not getting so wrapped up into it that, you don't realize that this is going to be the last time you're going to be able to enjoy, seeing this guy on the pitch line. So it is what it is. Hello to Bernie in the house. Big up, big Bernie. Up. So our next my next thing I wanted to bring up is this right here. This is now a talk. This is actually a conversation being happened, and they're going to be voting on this. This clip here is saying it's, this is Wayne Rooney's take. He was saying it's taking all the enjoyment out of the game. Wayne Rooney, Roy Keane, and Andy Cole share their thoughts on the recent news of scrapping VAR next season. This is an actual Premier League clubs will vote on scrapping VAR next month. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about that in the chat? How do you feel about that in the chat too, by the way? But what are your thoughts on that, Brian? Like it's a big
popped
thing.
Up there, yeah. I just 2 minutes before, let's say we came on there, I just saw. Okay, and is it a vote? Is it a vote to consider a vote, or is it a vote? I think it's one of those.
No, it's so the Premier League clubs will be asked. Premier League clubs will be asked to vote on the possible abolition of video assistant referees for next season. After a proposal was tabled before this, so it was already tabled originally, and now they're bringing up.
It was Wolves, wasn't it?
Basically, do you want to get rid of it?
I saw somebody in the chat there saying that it was Wolves that were the ones.
Yes, it was. It was.
Forward. Yeah,
it was.
Yeah,
exactly what I was about to bring up next. Well,
sorry.
The Wolves have lodged a motion to scrap the use of VAR in the Premier League, with a vote to be held at next month's meeting. So it was Wolves that brought it back up.
Yeah, so I just hopefully you can keep the bits that have been working, which is Hi, Trigger, and hi, Alexander,
Oh, big
and
up,
hi,
Trigger.
Jimmy. Uh,
Is Jimmy in the house too? That's cool.
you know,
Alexander.
it's like,
I see Alexander
yeah,
there too. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure on the language on that. Vote on the possibility. You can't vote. I know that's what it says, but I'm not sure how you can
Hmm.
vote on the possibility of something. You can either vote on it
Hmm.
or not vote on it. So, I think that's more of it sounds to me like it's a stage one thing. But I don't like it. I want it rid of it because basically
I don't know
it
if it's a
doesn't
stage
really.
one thing, to be honest with you, because like I could bring up.
Well, yeah, I'm only just
I'll
yeah,
bring it up
okay,
for you. I'll bring it
yeah.
up for you. But yeah,
No, it's
the
cool.
reason why I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah,
saying that because they're talking about it being applied for next season. So I
yeah,
think
that's
because it
cool.
was tabled, I think because this motion was already brought up, but it was tabled, and now Wolves are saying no, we want to make sure that this gets voted on so we can apply it for the upcoming season.
Yeah,
Um,
I think what's happened is the person who wrote that just wrote it badly. It's not that
no,
anything
no,
about it's
I'll tell
wrong.
you. All right, I'll read it for you. I'll read
No,
it for
no,
you now.
yeah,
I'll read it
no,
for
I
you.
get. I mean,
I'll
it's
read it
just
for not only
the way
you, but
they.
also for everyone out there in the chat too. Premier League. This is on Sky Sports. Premier League clubs will be asked to vote on the possible abolition of VAR for the next season. Wolves recently tabled a proposal which will be heard at a shareholders meeting on June 6th. Sky Sports News understands that Premier League board is directly opposed to the proposal.
Yeah, yeah. So they just need to. It make more sense if you just remove the word possible. But
Mhm.
I think basically it isn't a technology. There is no technology. There's no such thing as VAR, in my opinion. It's just it's a television and it's a camera and it's three referees just making more decisions. It's not a separate, not a new thing. It's just basically handing off the decision to three guys in a room with a box, and they can still get it wrong. It
Mhm.
isn't a all-seeing, all omnipotent kind of never wrong technology like Hawkeye or something like that, or goal line technology. It's still just three guys in a room going, "Well, what do you think?" And they can
Mhm.
still get it wrong. So I'm all
Yeah.
for getting rid of that. I'd like automated offside if it's basically like the goal line technology. The thing goes off on the ref's arm and goes offside. Bing, offside, proven never to be wrong. Cool,
Mhm.
there we go. It's like DNA. It's 1 in 10 billion. Cool, run with that. But
Mhm.
going to the three guys in a room watching a TV, basically having a conversation themselves, I said it, it's a net negative. So get rid of that.
Yeah.
But just as long as everybody, if they do get rid of it, just remember you wanted it gone. You wanted it in the first place
Yeah.
because you couldn't handle refs making mistakes.
Right.
So you wanted it, you got it. Now you hate it. If it goes,
It's
just
good. It's
remember
not. It can't
refs
stop.
will make mistakes and they will
Yeah.
miss things because they don't
Yeah.
have
It'll be a
10,000
lot
cameras.
worse. It will be a lot
So
worse.
so it's just you don't like it, but just remember that if it goes, you'll go back to the Thierry Henry moments and the things that you used to tear your hair out about because
Yeah.
how did the ref not see this and how did the ref not
Yeah.
see that? Because there's only one ref on a pitch. He will miss stuff, mistakes will be made,
Yeah.
and bad calls will go because it's a fast game and it's one ref, and he didn't like that, so you wanted VAR. Now you want VAR gone. So here we go. Just get ready to get back on the merry-go-round because there's no third choice. Like I want it gone too because that's what I'm happier with refs making mistakes and which will happen rather than mistakes being made and it taking 57 minutes. Do you
Hmm.
know what I mean? Like games are
Hmm.
going on for 120 minutes now. Like you're having 10 minutes of extra time. And I know that's not just because of VAR, but a lot of it is because of VAR.
Hmm.
So
I'm
for
gonna I'm
me,
gonna bring
as
in
I've said to you before, net negative.
net negative. Yeah. I'm gonna
That's
bring
what at the
JK in
moment.
really quick.
Oh,
Oh,
cool.
sorry. Go ahead. Say finish what you gotta say. Go ahead.
No, it's just I've always said that to you. At the moment, it's still a net negative. And while it's a
Yeah.
net negative, get rid of it.
I'll bring in JK to join us on this discussion. Big up, JK. How are you doing?
Hey, Philip.
Yeah.
Henry.
Yeah. Right. Yes, and I also will be bringing in some of these comments too, because these comments are really, really on point as always. Alexander says, get the semi-automatic offside on and scrap those VAR incompetent refs. Bernadette says, good. Let's have goal line technology. That's something, Bernie, that I've been saying as well. I want to improve the goal line technology. If not, I want to make it where, as in, we can start utilizing the technology to even to be for free kicks or corner kicks to differentiate between the two, because it's, people might say, oh, well, who cares, whatever, but that's an important part of the game too. That's an opportunity that is being taken away. And there's been a couple of times where at the end of the game, you're sitting there going, oh, we're going to get this corner kick, and they call a free kick, and it's a goal kick. And it's one of those cases where you saw it go out, you can see it go out on this player on the replay, and you saw it go out. That shouldn't be that difficult of a thing to be able to say who it went out on for certain cases. So, and then she also says, leave the rest to the officials on the pitch. Lee says, I think we give the semi-automated a season. I think if that doesn't work, scrap it. Redbird also says, VAR is not the problem. It's those idiots controlling it. Absolutely agree with that part too. And yes, some of those, and as he also goes on to say, says some of those mistakes are deliberate from those behind VAR, in Redbird's opinion. Yeah, what I was going to say is I'll read what what he was saying. What actually Tony Scholes says. He's the Premier League's chief football officer. Premier League stats earlier this season showed correct decisions had increased from 82% to 96% under VAR, with Tony Scholes, the Premier League's chief football officer, telling Sky Sports in February, VAR, this is quote, VAR is and remains a very effective tool in supporting the match officials on the pitch. However, Scholes did admit we are doing too many checks. We're taking too long in doing them as well. It's
no shit, Tony.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's one of those no SHIT, Sherlock. It's to a degree understandable given the level of scrutiny these guys are under, but the reviews are taking too long and it's affecting the flow of the game. And we're extremely aware of that. And that needs to improve that speed while always maintaining the accuracy. Meanwhile, Premier League officials believe the proposal would seriously impact it as one of the elites, for its reputation as one of the elite leagues in world football, and would mean no semi-automated officials or offsides or in-stadium announcements to the crowd that the top flight is pushing hard for. So apparently, if they get rid of VAR, they are saying that it would eliminate the possibility of what they've been proposing or what is supposed to be happening next year, and that is a certainty, is that we're supposed to be bringing in the semi-automated offsides reviews. They're saying that would be possibly go, or not possibly. They say it would be gone as well. That's an issue. I don't want to go. I think that's going one step forward, two steps back if we do something along those lines. Big up JK, by the way. JK, is your mic okay?
Yeah, everything's cool, bro.
Good. Yeah, big up. What's your take on this? This is something I was just saying too, about how I don't want to see VAR necessarily be completely taken away. I want to see that just be improved on, and that improvement could be with the semi-automated system with the offsides that takes out the probability of error when you have these guys trying to figure out where to draw the lines. And then I would also like to see, if you are going to have VAR, at least have it where it's
Bang on.
actually, actually a speedy process.
For me, Va, it sounds something like out of Star Wars or something, like a enemy, Va. Like he's dangerous, So the name in itself just like scares the fuck out of us.
Right.
But I believe many years ago, I always saying that they will try to ruin football because football is the #1 sport in the world. And whatever is in life, they always ruin it. Music, food, whatever it is. And football is next on the agenda, and it's been on the agenda for a long time. And I think all these new rules coming through, all these more games, Nations League, this, that, and the other, I think the destruction of football is underway. VAR, if it's done right and quickly, fair enough. We can't really moan about it, but it's not. They've made mistakes against us this season. The other day it was like 3 minutes on average how long it takes to make a decision and stuff. The naked eye, you can tell with your naked eye that's offside. You could just say it, like bang. I think 10 people in a room.
Well, it happened yesterday. It happened as one of the reasons why it's also a bigger story than or has heightened some of the announcement of this story. And I'll allow for you to continue on. Is that yesterday they were saying that, for instance, the first goal by Holland, they were saying that it was offsides actually, and that KDB was actually offsides in the build-up play. And there's been like pictures, and there's been little different takes and this and that. Obviously, they're drawing lines. They're not utilizing the same technology, because like you drawing a line on the screen isn't exactly the same as you drawing a line with an actual line that has all of the angles properly adjusted to. But that's one of the talking points on some of our arrival and some of the other neutral stations out there that are speaking about, was he offside? Was he not offsides? It did, by the naked eye, as you were just saying, look like he was offsides. But you can go on with your statement.
Was he onside or offside? He must have been onside then.
Well, they ruled the goal good. That was the first goal. Not the second goal was a penalty. But the first goal was a brilliant build-up play. And you just saw KDB be KDB. He's now the second. He is now the second in assist in the Premier League history. Incredible feat for him. But yeah, it's one of those cases where Redbird's saying that he was definitely offsides in his opinion. Yeah.
Okay. But in a weird way, I'm happy they got the goal, because we couldn't handle Arsenal winning the league.
I was super.
I was like, let the goal happen, Yesterday's game, it was like a circus, man. I've seen Arsenal fans wearing Tottenham shirts and stuff like that, bro.
Hold that thought, because that's one of our topics today. That's one of the topics today. I was going to, we have a fight for sixth place going on, and I'm going to show this first then, because I have some funny comments for our Red Devil supporters out there. But this was the case, at least from Ange. She says, most aggravating of all to Ange was the sense that a few club staff, many of whom are Spurs fans, have been relaxed about losing because of the title context. With the majority of club staff had been focused on their work as normal, the prospect of losing to City had been a theme of jokes among a minority of staff for the last week. When one member of the support staff joked to Ange that he should play a youth team against City, the manager was furious. Did you see his press conference?
No, get him out. You got people around you acting like that. Get rid of them.
Oh, you mean the actual staff?
About this.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't care about this North London Derby bullshit.
Right.
our North London rivalry. That's, I've been reading on the other forums that I've been on, like all week. You've got Arsenal fans and Spurs fans talking crap to each other, and Arsenal fans patronising Spurs fans. Spurs fans telling them how to feel, telling them how small time their club is, all this. That stuff. You've got a manager coming in there. If you want to like sit down in the pub with your mates, and you're a big Tottenham fan, okay, you say that, but you don't walk up to the manager of the team and start talking shit like that. I mean, that's going to, yeah, that's just so childish. Like, these guys, they have Champions League football to be playing for, and they're talking about it a month ago. That's a small time mentality. That's what's going to.
Yeah.
Yeah, a manager. He's like, see, this is the things you don't see. Like when you have a manager at a club or a head coach at a club, he cannot do it all. He's not an octopus. He's not omnipotent. He needs coaches, and those coaches can even be coaches that are coaching the youth teams that he's not in control of. But he needs to be relying on these guys, sending kids with the right kind of attitude. So if you've got people like that lower down the chain, they're going to be the reason that you don't have a job in 2 years. Do you get what I'm saying? It's people that are below you that are pulling in the right direction with a weak mentality like that. Christ, could you imagine that? Like at Liverpool, if someone's coming, oh, we may as well look. Hopefully, go on, play the youths against Man United there. Get the fuck out! Like, come on, they won't win anything. You won't win anything with people like that.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why it's very interesting to see his response, because he was being asked by that in the presser, and he was quite often just like, move on, next question, like that's a stupid question, da 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 da, and and we are moving into a realm where we bring this up now. We are bringing into a realm. There's some games on right now. We have the Manchester United game. They're hosting Newcastle, correct? I believe it's at Old Trafford, right? I believe so.
Yeah.
And Brighton is hosting Chelsea at the moment. I know that I saw in the chat that that Cole Palmer he's not going to catch Haaland for. I don't think he's going to catch Haaland for the Golden Boot. But all the same, he is the lone scorer on the day so far. But I have a question to the chat.
No, he's not catching. He's six behind, I think, isn't he? Six.
I mean,
six,
look, he's
no,
scored. It would be.
I think that's
amazing. Yeah, he had 4 goals. I think, in 1 game or something like that. 3 or 4 goals.
Oh yeah, Haaland put his foot down in the last. They were close.
In the last game, yeah.
Cole Palmer
he scored the 2 goals too.
A shout.
Yeah.
Yeah, Palmer was in with a shout. He was close to him, and then Haaland went and put the foot down and scored like 7 in the last 2. So he's
I think he had a hat trick in 1 game, and then he had and then the last game he had 2. Oh, he had 4 in that game. Okay, and he had 2.
He got a 4
in the last game because he had the PK.
Yeah. So, but Cole Palmer, I went against the grain for last month and a half because I was trying to make up ground, and so I decided to back against Haaland. So I dropped him at my team. It worked for a fair few weeks, but it's
then
like
Haaland's
people like Cole Palmer.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah. I'm still getting green arrows. I'm still going up because my team that I built without him has actually outperformed a team that I would have with.
I'm trying to think of what this song is. Don't you forget about me. That song.
Simple Minds.
Simple Minds. There you go.
Yeah, that's relevant for this.
That's what Haaland was singing to you. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're talking about this panel, Simple Minds is a good analogy.
Yeah, there you go. There you go too. There you say that much. Okay, so my question for the chat though, and my question also for the panel, we can start with JK, then we'll move to Irishman. And that is, who would be your favorites for 6th place? Now I'm not asking for, because that's the last spot for Europe, being that would be for the Conference League. Big up, Hylor. Big up. But who are your favorites for sixth place? I will admit that it's absolutely incredible that Chelsea is even remotely in the conversation, considering the way that their season has been topsy-turvy all, of this entire run. The sheer fact that Manchester United, who are absolutely horrible this year, albeit they've been not against us, but all the same, they've been horrible against pretty much the rest of the league, have a shout to possibly get there as well. And obviously Newcastle, who has fallen off, to say the least, from their, Champions League perch from last year, is now holding on to sixth place. The pretty much Tottenham has pretty much assured itself that it will be in that fifth place. I don't think they're actually able to even move up to fourth place any longer. But
no, they can't.
Yeah.
They're
Manchester United have just scored. Yes, they have. I just saw that. Manchester United's like, they heard me say that they've been horrible against the entire league. They're like, wait a minute. But all the same, who do you think is who do you have on there as being a viable? Who do you think is going to end up in sixth place? In the chat, JK, do you have someone? Who do you think is going to be in sixth place? I have the teams that they have. The teams they have left are also listed on there too. Mm-hmm. And if it's red, it means the top five. If it's yellow, it means they're in that 7th to 14th place. And if it's green, it means they're at the bottom 5 of the league. Okay. So Newcastle has Sheffield United left. Manchester United is on Newcastle's. Obviously, that's the game that we're watching now. Brentford is their final game. Then they have Chelsea has Brighton, obviously, today. Then they have Bournemouth as their final game. And Manchester United have obviously Newcastle today, and then they have Brighton. Who do you have? Who do you have getting 6?
I'm going to be Chelsea.
Wow, really?
Mm-hmm. Because if United win today, then if what's the Chelsea score 0-0 at the moment? Or?
And I guess you could say, well, I shouldn't say top. Spurs aren't guaranteed 5th place too. By the way, they're not guaranteed 5th place actually.
No, but Spurs have Sheffield United at home on the last day of the season. So
no, they have Sheffield United away.
Yeah, away.
Or Sheffield United.
Yeah, they have
away.
They're at
Sheffield United away. So yeah. So
and they also technically would be, if Newcastle were to win their final 2 games, then they would have a better goal differential because they're at plus 22. Spurs are at plus 10. But if Chelsea's at negative 12 and Manchester United are at negative 4 goal differential.
Whoa. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Big spenders.
I don't think United definitely can't get 5th. They can only get possibly 6th. But Chelsea and Newcastle could both end up getting just Newcastle could end up getting 6th place. If Chelsea ends up on the same points, then they'll still end up in 6th place. They could end up with 63 points, and let's say Spurs lose. They both have 63 points. Chelsea would lose out.
Chelsea have a better goal difference than Spurs.
Yes. Or no.
So if they finish level, they're on plus 13.
Spurs goal differential is plus 10. Newcastle
Chelsea's plus 13.
Oh, I have it as negative 12. Okay, let me double check on that.
Chelsea, no, Chelsea's plus 13.
On the graph here, it looks like it says negative 12. I'll double check something. You're right. You're right. Plus 12. So they do have a chance then.
No, plus 13. You include the one tonight.
Well, with the goal today, with the goal right now, right.
As it stands table, they're on 60 points with plus 13.
Mhm.
They're 3 points behind Spurs. So
Yeah. So the chat
Right.
has it. Who do you? Or so wait, Chelsea's, JK's, Irishman. What's yours? And I'll tell you if the chat's going. See if you go with the chat.
well,
And
at the moment, it looks with Chelsea having Bournemouth at home, which is in a brilliant game, but last game of the season. If I was been forced to put money on it, I would go with Chelsea. Yeah, just about.
wow, everyone like
But
you and everyone else has it being that way too.
if
Tyler
Newcastle
has the
win tonight, though,
Chelsea. Go ahead.
no, just saying, if Newcastle win tonight, we're in the middle of a game. There's a game on it. There's 2 games. They're both playing at the moment. So if
Mhm.
Newcastle were to turn that around and win, they'd be on
60
61.
points. Yeah.
So it'd be in their hands then. So yeah, but right now I'd say just about Chelsea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's what the primarily what the chat's saying too. Tyler has it for Chelsea. Bernie had it for Bernie would prefer Newcastle, but she thinks it's going to be Chelsea. Tyler actually has Chelsea possibly getting, or at least they can possibly get 5th place, to tell you the truth. And Jimmy has it as he thinks Chelsea will get it. Yeah.
But fair play to
says,
him, Pochettino. He's sort of got them at least winning, But I think with the money they spent and stuff like that, them finishing 6th or 5th would be an okay season, considering what they were doing earlier on in the season, But a lot of injuries, and what we were on about yesterday, mentally they weren't ready for playing to play for Chelsea. None of them. There weren't no John Terry's, Frank Lampard type of players. They were just young guys getting paid well, like we was on about yesterday. But I think slowly over the season, Pochettino's probably got into the heads of these guys and say, "Come on, enough's enough," So they're playing better, of course.
Yeah, there's playing better is certainly. I know that we just saw just saw United get a 1-0 lead in the first half so far. But and I don't know. Let me find out who scored that goal for them. Okay, it's their Wonder Boy that scored that goal for them. Actually,
Right.
Kobe is his first name, right? Is his name first name Kobe?
Oh, Kobe Manu.
Yeah. He has their goal, and this is a funny thing too. So moving on from that is that, and I do want to go back to the Spurs thing too, real quick, but I want to go into this before we do go into the Spurs thing, considering that they just scored. What are your thoughts on the Red Devils? The Red Devils this year. That is their last 8 results. Do you see Southgate as guaranteed incoming? Not pretty much, or at least a new coach. If it's not Southgate, but at least a new coach is pretty much guaranteed to be on their way in.
They're saying he's 50-50.
Okay.
Not Southgate. I mean, I saw a story there around it, basically saying Ten Hag.
Meaning like if
he's
Eric Ten Hag stays on or not.
Yeah. So, yeah, like you're asking Southgate, could they really? But yeah, a new manager. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I mean,
Maybe
like
if they win the cup.
it's so interesting, Brian.
They could
and
win the
I'm
cup.
allowed for you to comment. I just want to say it's so interesting because it's the part of the question. It's so interesting that Eric Ten Hag could have this be the last 8 games as you end out a season. You've had a draw, loss, 2 draws in a row, a win against Sheffield United, well done, and then a draw, a loss, and then a loss, and then an embarrassing loss at that against Crystal Palace. And yet your job, you still might have a job at Manchester United, one of the biggest clubs in England.
No, I think he's gone.
this is deemed as being acceptable?
Yep.
Go ahead. I wanted to hear what your thoughts on that is.
Come on, Brian.
JK,
I'm
you're
just
saying you think he's gone?
I think he's gone, yeah. Has to. You can't carry on with that sort of. Look at that. That's pretty bad. That is 1 win in 8. Sheffield United as well at home, and they let 2 goals in as well. So they've
4-2.
been good. 4-2. So they've been good against us because mentally they were ready for that game. It was a war, social media brewed it up, media, and so the players were up for it because the fans were, because we were going for a title, at that time where we got the 2-2. So they just went out and actually battled us, because they wanted to stop us. So that's why it's all about mentality. Football, you see it a lot nowadays. Things like that, like Man United ready for Liverpool on 3 occasions this season, but then they got 1 win in 8. So. But I'm happy that's going on down there. It's good.
Back in the day. Back in the day, at any club, I mean, look, it was Fergie might have got away with, I suppose, probably, but I mean, that gets you sacked at pretty much any Premier League club. A run of, excuse me, sorry. There's even that Sheffield United match, as you rightly pointed out, they were down in that game. There is, when you bring a guy like him in, they've got this bloody weirdo, Jim Radcliffe, going around making mad calls and decisions and complaining about how untidy the IT department is when he's polluting half the world's atmosphere to within an inch of its life. He couldn't make this shit up. But anyway, he's off his head, this guy. He's been given full run of he wanted to buy the club, said, you're not having the club. He was like, well, how about I buy this much and you make me football guy. I want to do all the football stuff. You can stay in Florida or wherever, and you can just get your dividends. But I want to be able to make all the fancy, interesting, fun, basically football decisions. So they said to him, "Cool. So let's find out what this guy. This guy could be completely off his head. Great. Like you can build up a petrochemicals industry that makes plastics, but can you run it? I know he has Nice, but can you run Manchester United?
It's a big question.
At any other club in history, that is. I mean, the draws he's getting draws against Brentford and Bournemouth.
He got a draw against Burnley.
He's not even getting the draws. He's
Burnley at home. You got a 1-1 draw, Brian.
Yeah. He's losing the Palace. He's not even pulling out draw. When you bring him, this is what I'm saying with this Jim Radcliffe guy. When he calls him into his office, what can Ten Hag point to and say, right, show me, this season, right, show me, show me the things that I should be looking at that tells me you can keep your job here, because that bit doesn't. That last 8 results bit, I wouldn't be bringing that bit up. So can you point to anything? He's just got a cup. Can he point to a cup, an FA Cup, a good result against Liverpool? It just shows you how bad they are, that they're in that scenario, that guy is still actually there. They would have gotten rid of him.
He's got a league cup.
He's got a
league cup. Yeah.
This season, what can he point
this season, though.
Maybe he might, if he pulls something out of the bag and beats City. All he can do.
Now, how about that, though? What would that change it for you? If he gets an FA, if they win the FA Cup, would that save him?
No.
Tell me in the chat.
If he was Liverpool's manager and there are results there, an FA Cup win for me isn't sufficient, for him to stay. I think a lot of Man United fans will say the same. He's spent a lot of money as well.
Man United fans are just done and just kind of over it. They just want to move on from him, and they just don't believe in him any longer. They try to give him the benefit of the doubt, but they've just moved on to the point where they've seen those kind of performances. You can't get. I understand it was away at Crystal Palace, but 4-0 at Crystal Palace, that's just not something that you expect from a Red Devils team. A 1-1 draw against Burnley at home, that's just not what you expect. Once again,
but what they would have done before, right? What they would have done before was for the Palace Arsenal or whatever their last game is, he would have been gone, and Giggs or Carrick or something
Right.
would have come in as a caretaker for 3 games,
Right.
and they would have gotten a new manager. He would have been sacked long before he even got to this point. You know, they
There's a
sacked
lot.
better managers than this guy. They sacked Mourinho. They sacked Van Gaal. They've sacked
Yeah.
better managers than this guy for
Yeah.
much less, really, much less than, you know, what he apparently did wrong. Mourinho got him 2nd place and Europa League. Van Gaal, you know, is Van Gaal. You know, he was probably asking to be sacked half the time. But this, like, just that run of games for a club like that, all it says, it's like I spoke before about not affecting me when a player leaves in terms of the player personally, but just about what it says about your club. Or if a player chooses not to join your club, it's not about, oh, we didn't get him. It's about him not wanting to join us. It's what it says about your club. And when you look at those results and you look at the fact he's still in a job, what does that say about your club?
Yep.
You're
It
in the
says,
shit.
you know what?
Exactly.
It says, oh,
Yeah.
I get why you have a leaky roof.
Yes.
Has to match the defense. Yeah.
That's why I get it. That's what I would say. I would expect it almost.
Can I chime in on that one thing? One thing they said about that, right, is that that isn't a leak. There's like obviously they have to have like drainage, you know, in case there's too much water on the roof. And because like there was a lot of rain, there was too much rain, it's like it's Manchester. That's all it does in Manchester is rain. Okay. You've had more rain than that, lads. Yeah, it was a lot of rain. There was like you had the Aurora Borealis, you had all these crazy storms, you had mad weather, but it's Manchester. It's all it does up there is rain. They're like, oh, we weren't expecting that much rain. Come on, lads. It's Manchester. You can get away with that in Barcelona or something, but not in Manchester. All you guys do is fucking rain.
Yeah, that's what Hyler was saying. That picture of the massive flood on the inside of Old Trafford was almost poetic and very symbolic of a rotting club through and through.
And he wants
well spoken.
He's one of the richest people on the planet, and he's decided not to live in England, so he doesn't have to pay tax there because he doesn't want to give back to the country that he's from and help them make all his money. But he wants to get public funding, as in taxpayers' money, as in people pay for refurbishment at Old Trafford, so he doesn't have to pay for that in his own pocket. He actually wants a grant.
I better see
of the United Kingdom to pay for their new roof.
Yeah,
out of their tax that they pay on their wages to a billionaire.
Yep.
Because he can't afford to fix his own roof.
I better see the same outrage that we see for other clubs and their managers, especially the ones that happen to, That's why I'm like, yeah, okay, let's see. And that's an Englishman. You can't say, oh, he's not from this country. No, that's an Englishman. I'd like to see the same energy be brought out for that outrage.
Don't worry, if he won't get away with that. But if that comes out, and it is kind of out the moment, but it's not like widely out. But it just because he hasn't gotten his check. But if he was to get money for that, don't worry, there will be outrage.
And you know what, Brian? That's why they keep calling it the Wembley of the North. It's a little logo they use just to get the backing of the rest of England. They're so clever, these guys, man. The words the Wembley of the North. There you go. So he wants the funding, man.
Honestly, apparently
has leaking.
Breaking news.
I'm not sure if Wembley's
the reason why all that water was coming from there. Apparently, it was Bruno and his cousins taking a bath. That's funny. Yeah. So it's just interesting, and you're right about it. Does show a lot of the state of the club, and it goes to show you like a billionaire is a billionaire. It doesn't matter what his ethnicity is. Most billionaires like the money they have, and they don't want to spend any of it when it comes to it if they don't have to.
You don't get rich. You don't get rich by spending money.
Right. Exactly.
You know, you get
Exactly.
rich by tax loopholes and getting
Exactly.
government grants and getting everything paid for you as much as possible.
Exactly.
You know, you write it off here and you get someone else to pay for it there. And at the end of the day,
Yeah.
yeah, look, the Glazers,
Corporate welfare exists. Corporate welfare definitely exists in the
yeah,
world.
the Glazers famously, you know, they basically borrowed the money to buy Man United by using Man United as the collateral, which is,
Hmm.
you know, something only a rich person can do.
Hmm.
Really is like,
Hmm.
but they did also have to put in 250 million of their own money, right?
Hmm.
So not everyone has 250 million, but
No.
they could get that to 250. Okay, so you have to be in that stratosphere, you know. But basically, even to do what they did, even by putting in 250 million, to basically say, well, we need a loan of 2 billion. What's it for? Well, it's for Man United. What's the what's the security on that? Man United. It's worth 2 billion.
Hmm.
Give me the
Yeah.
money, I'll own it.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense, Malcolm. There's 2 billion quid.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and that's one way of doing it. But this guy wants to come in and play the system the way he's played the system before and make him say he
Yeah.
wants to be Man
I'm
United
trying to
fans
think
think
what
he's a
movie
white
that
knight.
was. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah.
He ain't
There's
no
a
white
movie.
knight.
Yeah. White Knight. Go ahead.
No, that's what I'm saying. He ain't no white knight for Man United
Oh, he's
fans.
not. No. Yes. Yes. Certainly not. Yeah. No. I was thinking. I'm trying to think of what the movie was. There's a movie where like, um, this guy. I think it was the WeWork guy, but like, um, he goes into Goldman and Sachs, and because originally he went to the bank and asked for a loan, and he wanted a 60 million. I think it was like 60 million or something like that type of loan, or two. No, 100 million. He wanted 100 million loan, and he goes into the bank, and they're like, well, why should we give you this? Why should we give it to this? And it got pushed up, pushed up, pushed up, pushed up too. Eventually, he was sitting in front of the Goldman Sachs president, and he's like, yeah, I want $100 million loan, and he's like, but you're, and he's like, before you go there, I understand my bank account only says I have 60,000. I get that, but I'm worth a whole lot more than that. My bank account only has 60,000 in it, but I, with my assets, am worth billions, and I want $100 million. And the Goldman Sachs guy looks at him and says, "No, you deserve 200 million." And you're like, "What? Okay, all right, interesting." It's one of those billionaires have the rich have their own rules when it comes to investments and getting money and such, and keeping the money circulating amongst themselves.
Yeah,
So
watch me try that shit in the bank on Monday morning.
yeah, go up there, be like, yeah, I want a $600,000 loan.
Yeah.
It
You're
only
pressing
says
the
you.
little buzzer under the desk.
Yeah, exactly. You have like two security guards behind you,
Oh,
sitting there
peering
waiting.
over the shoulders. Yeah.
Exactly. Oh
Thank
man.
you.
I also wanted to say one quick thing about the POS. I said it would, or about the big Ange thing. So one of the things that they were getting pissed off about was apparently that there were not only him, but also with his staff, but with the fan base. I remember I follow a guy named Hotspur Hippie. He's a nice guy. Friends of I know him because of Jacob, who is United Spurs of America,
Mhm.
and I was on his. I wasn't like on the panel or anything like that, but he engages with the chat, and my question to him was, will you be rooting, or not to say rooting, but will you be bothered if your team loses against City? And would you prefer you lose against City than win if it means your win would possibly give the league to Arsenal? And he was like, heck no, I don't want to. I'm going for the win. I want the win. I want the win. you know, I blah 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 blah. And he just went on and on about it. I was the first person to ask him that question. I was surprised, but and then like you know, obviously we had the results of like content creators like Expressions, and there's he was wearing a Spurs kit with a Manchester United badge put over top of the Spurs badge, and you can still see it was the Spurs. You can see it had the Spurs sponsor on it, but it now had a Manchester City kit badge. There is others on YouTube that were doing that as well. A lot of people were excited to see the fact that, or happy, or if not rooting for that. We even saw in the game, I don't know if you saw the game or not, but in the game, they even said, they even made a mention about how Ange blew up. He turned around and blew up at an actual Spurs fan who was asking for him to throw the match or something along those lines. What's your take on that? And this is just fan base related, not necessarily on Ange, but fan base related. How do you feel about that? JK, you want to go first on this one?
JK.
Okay, I really like Ange. I think he's a genuine guy. I think yesterday's game, his head, he messed with his head. You know, you can just tell by his face he was pissed off about something. You know, as a fan, yeah, you don't want to see, like, if that was our situation, we needed Man United. We needed to lose to Man United. Imagine we was in that situation and it was Man United, the other team. You know, Man United were playing Tottenham and stuff. I wouldn't want Man United to win no matter what. So yeah, even though we will lose the game, and it would hurt, but the bigger picture being United don't get that league title. You know, so you can look at it in that way. Of course, we don't want our team to lose. It just sounds weird, but I feel sorry for him yesterday. I just felt sorry for him. I'm thinking, does he really need this? You know, but I understand it from a fan point of view. You don't want your, like, even us. We're not even Tottenham fans. We didn't want Arsenal to win that league. Me and you 12, like, we don't want no Arsenal to win that league, no matter what.
Absolutely.
I was like, yeah. So if it was Man City against us yesterday, would I want them to beat us? No, I wouldn't. But in a weird sort of way, it would have been better. I wouldn't be able to handle an Arsenal title win. I wouldn't be able to handle it. It would do my head in, you know. So yeah, football's like that.
Well, here's
what I mean by the way, Brian. Just so you have some idea of what I was speaking on.
Yeah.
And then also he also posted this as well. Manchester Hospital.
That's comedy at its best, that is. That's comedy.
If the wind changes direction, his face will stay like that.
Yeah, right.
I mean, yeah.
It's I think it's if someone smacks him on the back, his face would change that way.
No, that's what we say in Ireland. In Ireland,
I know that's what we say in America, at least.
The wind changes direction, yeah. But the thing is, right? The thing is, well, like I was saying it earlier on about the staff, right? Meaning the cop on. But I've also heard this, and I know plenty of people that live there, and I've said it's if you live and you work in North London, like it's like there'll be people like I'll have to go into work tomorrow, and there'll be 35 Arsenal fans in an office or in the company or whatever. They work day in day out. Arsenal fans, Tottenham fans, Chelsea fans together. They're mates, they're enemies, they're all that. So. Like I get that 100%. Like what JK saying from the fans' point of view, it's people are saying like it's sad and pathetic, but I don't know why other people. I don't know why anyone isn't either an Arsenal fan or a Tottenham fan cares. You know, I'm just saying like the people are having a real go at these people. Like we can just have a joke about it, but I know for a fact that for them it's like no, literally, I'll have to go. Like I go to work. There's 15 of us in work. There's 11 Arsenal fans and 2 Tottenham fans. I'm not putting up with that for the next 6 months.
Mhm.
That's so I get that. It's literally that way of thinking. We don't live in North London. I don't live in North London. So there's the people who are in the trenches on the ground. To them, the worst thing that can possibly happen is Arsenal winning the league. That's just it. So I
Right.
get it from those guys. There's a bit of an overreaction to it, but for those people, yeah, it would be like if you said, like JK is saying, if we were playing Man City, or say we were playing
Manchester United.
whoever, yeah, but if we were playing someone tomorrow night, and if the club we were playing, if it meant that they beat us, that stopped United winning the league.
Hmm.
I don't know how bad I would feel about losing that game if we had nothing to play for, obviously.
If we had nothing to play for, right?
You know,
But considering that
like,
they did,
if
yes,
it's
right.
yeah, but it's like you're asking me, it's like, what's your worst case scenario? So which one do you want to pick? So I
Right.
get it for a lot of fans, like you're talking about guys like him, they grow up on estates with like hundreds of mates, hundreds of people in their lives. London's a super busy city. They're getting it all day long in the ear from Spurs fans, Arsenal fans. It's their life. So for them, yeah, the idea of just Arsenal not winning, if they're not going to win, next priority, Arsenal don't win.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's like it is. It's like how would we rather win a dead rubber game that means nothing to us against Aston Villa if that meant it guaranteed Man United a title? Or it's kind of like, I don't know. To be honest, I wouldn't mind going for a walk with the dog and coming home to find out we lost 2-0. Uh-oh, Man United didn't win the league. Oh well,
Right.
Football puts you in those horrible positions sometimes. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know what? Honestly, you just said that. You know what it was, bro? When Man City win the league, we don't really notice it. It's just like on to the next season, you know. But if Arsenal win it, it will be a nightmare. You won't hear the end of it. So in that way, it's like I don't want Man City to win anything, you know. There are, how many league titles they got now? 8 or 9, something like this.
Doesn't
So
matter.
the way back,
Doesn't matter. They're all fake. They're all fake. Doesn't matter. They're all fake.
yeah, they're all fake.
So
But it don't really matter if how many league titles they win. You know, we've got 19.
Exactly.
So in that way, that's why I'm not really bothered about City winning another league title, and I rather prefer they win it than Arsenal. No, you can't have Arsenal winning it.
Yeah. It was interesting
It's
because I
it
know
is easier
how.
though, isn't it? Though 12 man, isn't it? Do you not think it's easier to look at it like that with City and say it's illegitimate in
Oh, yeah.
5 years' time? It means less almost. See, I don't want to go down it sort of the opposite of this means more, but it does mean less when City are winning because you just see them as almost illegitimate.
It means, yeah. The
Exactly,
banter part, I think, that you said though is very important about it. Like if you didn't have to deal, like if you knew that your next day or your every day, as long as you maybe stayed off of YouTube or the socials a little bit, chances are you're not going to have to deal with the banter. You're not going to have to deal with facing the fact of the reality, that a team that you hate has just won the league and maybe at your expense as well. But if it's not that, in the case of City, you don't run, at least I don't come across many City fans.
Nope.
And even the City fans that I do run across, are they even really City fans? Like it's not like these guys have been through when they got relegated or any of that stuff. You're talking about some of these City fans, and albeit some of them are just because of the age difference, I get that, but still the same. It's not like you have to deal with those people. So like it makes the fact of City winning not as intolerable as if, for instance, the sheer fact of, we could end up, if hypothetically, if that does happen and you end up getting us 2 more Prem titles, guess what? Manchester United is getting a Prem title in that scenario too. Because there was a year when they ended up second place. So Ali, and this is like one of those funny questions or whatever, is that like, as much as you hated on Ali and Ali at the wheel could end up getting you a Premier League title. in essence,
Mourinho finished second as well.
was Marino as well? Okay. Is
Yeah,
that
Mourinho
during
finished
the?
second
Is
as
that
well.
during one of the years? Is that during the window that they're targeting?
Maybe after. Oh, if it's in that window, I'm not sure. But we've been here before. When you think about it, Blackburn. We were playing Blackburn on the final day of the season. And
Hmm.
Blackburn were going for the league title. King
Right.
Kenny was managing Blackburn, and it was between them and Manchester United. And
Mhm.
everyone thought like that Blackburn were going to need to beat us. And so it was like, well, if we go out and beat Blackburn, we basically handed the league title to
Mhm.
Manchester United and stop Kenny from winning one. I mean, I think we won the game in the end, and I think they drew, so it didn't end up mattering. And Blackburn still won the league, but
Mhm.
we've been in that exact position on the end of, and not only in that exact position, that it was Man United that we were potentially helping to win a league, but we were also stopping Kenny Dalglish. You know, that was like, how the hell do you wrap your head around that one?
Yeah.
You know, it's just okay. Who do you want? Do you want us to win? Do you want Kenny to lose? Do you want Man United? It's like, wow, okay. It's just like that's yeah. Football has a way sometimes of putting you in a scenario like that where it forces you to actually think about
Yeah.
supporting in a different way, which isn't normal for comfortable for a lot of people.
By the
Most
way,
people
it
say
is
no.
now. It's
Yeah,
all. It's 1-1 in the Man U game. I know sometimes we don't give updates, but
sign the
considering
check.
that, yeah, today's a
Sign
little
the
different
check,
story.
John. Get him signed up, John. Sign the check. 100 million. Send it to Newcastle. Get him down here. Get him back to
Is
where
that
where you all started. Gordon.
so? There was an article that was out that spoke on this too. I'll just bring it up. I was going to bring it up tomorrow, but I'll bring it up today. Might as well since Gordon just scored. That was saying
He's a
it was a
madman.
very interesting piece, and it'll actually segue into the final piece that I wanted to talk about. But it basically said that if we do pursue Gordon, it would be a boom for not only Liverpool, but also for Everton, in that it will intensify the rivalry that is currently, obviously established. But it would be the case of, Gordon. Obviously, he's obviously he's a Scouser, but also because Gordon grew up as a Reds fan, but played obviously as a Blue or for an Evertonian, and
Well, started in the Liverpool academy.
right.
He has been
Okay,
in
so
there.
give him credit for that too. Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
But
I didn't know. I honestly, I didn't know that yesterday.
okay.
I always assumed, yeah, he was an Everton kid.
Mhm.
Like, and I think it was like he was 6 and he left when he was 11. Like that, it was like when he was really young. He was at the end.
I
So
wonder why they
yeah,
gave
it's
up
not like
on him.
11 years old, maybe whatever. But it's not like I thought. Oh, did he like? Was he there? He was 16 or something. And then go to Everton, and 2 years later
Right.
he's going to New. No. It was back in
Yeah,
the day kind of thing.
Jamie was originally an
Yeah.
Everton fan too. I know that too. Yeah, grew
Yeah,
up
but he's
with
not worth 100 million. He's not worth that.
God,
No way. No.
That's I try to emphasize
Crazy.
this so often. I know honesty and high lore are my witnesses on this, but I try to emphasize the market is absolutely insane at the
Yep.
moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is. But
Absolutely insane. That if you
Yeah.
can tell me
no, it's the market
that
price. But he
Gordon
ain't
is
worth
worth
all the day.
100 million, absolutely incredible.
No, look, if you could rewind the clock and you could put Barcelona's Neymar release clause
Mm.
up to 800 million
Mhm.
and PSG never come in with that 200 million bid. Now, we may have gotten to this, we were always going to get to a certain point, but that just sent the market into overdrive.
Mm-hmm.
That 200 million, then you had Barcelona giving us 140 for Coutinho, giving
Mm-hmm.
Borussia Dortmund 100 million for Dembele. Then you had them giving 100 million for Griezmann. you had all these crazy deals. You know, that really, it was going to happen eventually, but and the Mbappe deal as well. But
Yeah, the
Jesus
name
Christ,
idea
I mean,
kicked it off. Yep, true, bro. True.
yeah, and now you've got someone like Guardiola, great player, goes for the same price as Van Dijk. I get it, but Van Dijk English tax, or not English tax, Premier League tax.
Hmm.
You
I
know,
got you, man.
Guardiola, people like that regularly going for 80 million now. That's
Yeah,
your base price. That's your benchmark now.
that's your
Mm.
benchmark.
Declan Rice for 105 million. Caicedo
Enzo,
115 and Enzo
Enzo. Yep.
105.
mad.
Those three players to put that together as a midfield, Enzo, Caicedo, and Rice, which would be an awesome midfield, by the way,
Sure.
over $250 million.
Mad.
Mhm.
Forget about it.
That would buy. There are Premier League. That could. There are still. There are. That could probably. That would still buy you two current Premier League clubs.
Yeah.
$250 million. You could buy
Yeah.
Luton and Sheffield United for $250 million and probably have change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
But
how
it
is
also goes.
make that make sense? Make that make sense. You know,
Yeah.
and fucking
I was gonna
Mudrick for
also.
100
I
million.
was gonna bring up the fact
Jeez.
of. I was gonna bring up the fact of what you're saying is spot on, but we're also in a league where a team like Manchester City could spend 100 million on Jack Grealish and sit him on the bench.
Yeah. Yep.
Like wrap your head around that. Like,
yeah. I said that from day one. It's like that's almost yeah. If you can't see what's broken, that's they can take someone like that from Villa and give them 9 months to just kind of settle in. Get used to the place. It's okay.
yep,
We buy someone for 90 million. You better fucking perform
yeah,
tomorrow. And we've got a
tomorrow.
league to win.
As
Yeah,
in
we
like
spent
yesterday.
most of our
You
money
better
on
perform as in yesterday.
all of the money on you. There's a reason, not so you can just
Yep.
get your feet under the table. So, yeah,
But you're so spot on.
yeah.
Yeah.
Look,
Top 10. I'll give you the top 10 transfers, Premier League transfers so far today. And I'll bring up and then I believe Honesty has a question for us. Top 10, and this is in euros. Jadon Sancho, 85 million euros. Number 9, Harry Maguire, 87 million euros.
failure.
Crazy.
Yep.
Crazy.
Guardiola, like you just said, 90 million euros.
Success so far.
Number 7.
So far.
Number 7. Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, number 7. Anthony, 95 million euros.
Failure.
Paul Pogba, 105 million euros. Juventus to Manchester United in 2016. Lukaku, 113 million euros. Caicedo, 116 million euros. Declan Rice, 116.6 million euros.
Success.
Jack Grealish, 117.5 million euros. And obviously Enzo at 121 million euros. Out of that top 10, I would say maybe what? 2 people on that list have seen, maybe 3 have seen like real success.
Guardiola and Rice, even though Rice hasn't won trophies, but Guardiola's only there a few minutes. I'd give Caicedo and Enzo time, but the only one really that you could say even is Guardiola really is it. And the other thing about that is there's one striker on that list.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're talking about the most expensive players in the league, and only one of them is a striker.
Yep.
That just shows you how prices have gone through the roof for the DMs and centre halves.
That's a good point. That was a very good point. Yeah.
Yeah, strikers were big money back in the days. And that's
Yeah,
big money
always.
just for standard, normal
always.
positions, you know?
Yeah.
Because that's
Oh, so
that's your
A
that's your
DM
home
was
run
always
hitter.
your like like the world's most expensive DM would be, yeah, like if the world's most expensive striker was like 50, an expensive DM would be 15.
I just
Yeah,
thought about
now
that.
you've
I
got
think three out of at least three of them, because Enzo could be played at a DM, but I know he doesn't necessarily play as a DM, but he plays that in a pivot system at least. Um, but yeah, you have Rice, you had Casado, you had and you have Enzo on that list, and then the rest are and just one striker. But again, that's why I keep emphasizing that
strikers out
yes, 2-0. I see that Chelsea's up 2-0. United has
there. Ooh,
scored as well. I don't know who scored for United.
Ahmad
Diallo. Yep.
Diallo. He assisted the Menu goal, so that's a goal and assist for Ahmad Diallo.
Oh wow. Well, kudos to him. Um,
And Coco. And Coco for Chelsea. Do you remember we were over him? And Coco?
let me get this question for you guys because there was a question for you, and then I have one or two starred comments too. Here's the question from Honesty. He asked, question for all of you guys, for all of you, do you guys think there is any truth in the rumors that LC can spend 450 million without breaking FFP plus the 190 million profit we got, or is that total BS? I don't think that's BS, to be honest with you. I don't think it's BS. Why I don't think it's BS is because Liverpool has made quite a bit of money this year. And despite the fact that I know the big purchase tickets, I think sometimes we think of McAllister. McAllister was an absolute steal. That was like our shopping with a coupon, you know, experience right there. That was a major coupon, you know. You ever see those? I don't know if you ever see those kind of broadcasts. They have these I think they're called coupons shoppers or something like that. It's like these people that go with the coupons. They end up like sometimes coming out with money, like leaving with all the products, but leaving with actual sometimes money in their hands. They end up spending they end up going into the negative, as to with the rebates and everything else that they get savings off of. McAllister was that guy for us this last term. I mean, there's no way that we just spoke on, his Argentinian brethren going for 122 or 100 some odd million euros. McAllister is easily in that realm as well. But if you really do look at it, I just I can't think of an opportunity would be massive to see us spend 450 million, but I don't think that I'm not hired as a sporting director, so I'm not going to be able to break the bank like I did last time and bringing in, Musiala and bringing in all these different players and the likes, but I don't think it's BS. But I think that you will see them spend this summer. You will see them spend this summer. Do you guys have a different view?
What's the question? Do we have 450? I don't think we have 450 to spend. No, I don't think we'll come close to spending anything like 450 million. I think we don't need, this team doesn't really need, I suppose, look, we can spend it, yeah, push it. But I don't think that would mean us, we don't go out and spend enormous sums. So if we would spend that kind of money, it would probably involve 8 or 9 players. So it would be, you see, we're back in the Champions League. We're not in. We don't have huge problems with debt, but a lot of it is to do with wages as well. So I don't forget that. So I think
Right.
I
No,
can
a
see
lot
us
of it's
spending
dealing with the
somewhere around
wages.
200.
Yeah.
I think around like I can see us bringing in around 60 million and ending up spending somewhere around 180. But even there, I, I can see us doing like even less
Hmm.
business. It's not that we don't want to spend money, we don't need, but I just don't see us doing that
I don't see
enough
us doing
for
it.
that amount
No.
of business.
Yeah. I don't think, not
Like
only
I
do I
know,
not see us doing it, I don't think there's a need for us to do it, to be honest with you.
no, that's the thing. You see, it's like if you were spending that much money, that'd be buying like 6 or 8 players.
Right. Yeah,
So
that's the
yeah, I
reason why
think
I don't
we
see
only
us doing
need
it.
2 or 3. Yeah, so that I'm the same. I like. It's not that I don't see us having it. It's just that I don't see us actually spending that much because
I,
there's not
with
that
that
much
said,
work
too,
to be done.
with that said, then, and I know, let me see if I can adjust your mic because for some reason your mic is pretty low.
Oh, sorry, no, I'll fix it. It's okay. I just had to move it in front of my face.
Okay. I have a question then for the chat. Being that we will no longer have Klopp as our manager next year, and you know his take on 100 million pound players, obviously that he got asked that question excessively when we did go for 100 million pound player because he was saying how when it comes to that day when I had to buy 100 million pound player, football is done for me or something along those lines. Do you see Liverpool? And this is an honest question, okay? Can you see Liverpool making an acquisition for €100 million player, £100 player? Do you think that we will make that step, considering all of our rivals have all done, if not done it, they've come very close to. Obviously, 95 million euros is very close, but Manchester United with Anthony, we've seen obviously City do it with Jack Grealish and come very close to doing it again with Guardiola. Obviously, Arsenal has done it with Rice. Chelsea has done it as well,
If you were,
multiple
yeah,
times. Do you
if
think
we
that
were
we
to
will make
do,
our first £100 million acquisition
yeah,
this summer?
if if you were, this summer, well, that's a different
This summer,
question. Well, we nearly
not
did
like
it
will we
last summer.
ever?
Yeah,
Yes.
no, I hear you. I hear you. Not that we almost did it last summer. You know, I think if you were to use football specific inflation, I reckon we've already done it with the DVD purchase.
Mm-hmm.
I think that will come close, but it's only a matter of time. But I'm not sure which player. Like that to me, would say we went very very close to doing it. Let's I say that. So I think that might be the place where we will come close to doing it, as in because as we spoke
Mm-hmm.
before, Endo is is the present, he's not the future. So we need
Right.
some
Right.
guy to come in and be that guy. So I can see us coming close to that.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise,
Having a little problems with
we're
your mic too, by the way, Irishman.
sorry. Can you hear me now?
That now we can
Can you
hear
hear
you.
me better?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I just don't see us going beyond that somewhere else, just other in that position. Because
Mm-hmm.
other than that, it'd be a forward. I think we operate more in the 40 to 50 million market, but maybe not because I know some people might be disappointed, but I don't know. I would rather us go out and find somebody for 40 million that isn't this real obvious expensive name, and he turns out to be better or just as good as.
But you just cut out.
I just
Up.
want to be really, really clever, and
Mm-hmm.
then that leaves you 60 million to do something else, as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to going, oh well, let's just go and get Chumani because he's obvious. Well, he's 120 million. Well, there you go. It's like, don't tell me
Mhm.
there isn't another Chumani out there in France or somewhere that you can go
Mhm.
and get for 25 to 28 million. I kind of want to be that club that does things like that, as well as bringing in. I want to bring in proven um, firepower. Basically, I want to bring in
Mhm.
proven boys up front. So I'd rather be moneyball it in the DM market and go obvious or go, what would you call it? It goes to guarantee. Not that there's many out there, I know that, but
Mhm.
I'd be putting my money in the goals department if we had big money to spend. That's where I do it. So I'd like to see us. I would love to see us break that 100 million barrier for a striker this summer. I'd
Mm.
love that. Yeah.
Mm.
Whether we see
Okay.
it or not, I don't know.
JK, you have an opinion on this? I know the chat does. I see the chat has said Philip says no, but he could come very close to 100 million for a player. Eiler says, would it be wise to do it? Is the next question. And is this something that Edwards would say yes to? He says dramatically, no, all caps.
Mm-hmm.
Bonkers thinks that Arnie will probably get at least 2 signings. I think he'll get more likely 4 signings because there's going to be at least 3 players leaving alone, most likely. He'll have to figure out what he wants to do with obviously uh, with a with a goalkeeper, if not 2 goalkeepers, being the second and third string for us, and then also you would have to look at another center back exclusively because of the exit possibly of Matip. I know I was just in the chat also asking that question about Matip. I'll bring that up after you're done with what you have to say. But would you 100 million? What do you say? 100 million.
You know what it is, bro? What most frustrates me in football is this: when a club, pays big money, even though he might play for Man United, and then that player is a donkey.
Mm-hmm.
What it is, it ruins what Brian said about Neymar was the first guy to go for top dollar, then Coutinho went. A trend starts coming into effect. So you're getting donkeys for 100 million now,
Yeah,
you
you
know?
can. Yeah.
For me, Anthony is a good player. Technically, he knows how to play football, but he's at the wrong club, you know? So that's what football is now, bro. I think the standard prices are going to shoot up every season, you know? Who pays for this? It's the fans. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it boils
Mm-hmm.
down to that. Hence why football tops are going for 150 now. Tickets are going out of control.
TV.
Corporate, this, that, and the other. You know, so
No, the cost of getting Sky in England,
yeah,
100. If you get say 200,000 people, I don't know what their numbers is.
Mm-hmm.
You get them paying them £1,000 to 1,200 a year, and that's just in the UK. You know, that's yeah. You pay for it. Like their wages go up, your Sky subscription goes up.
it goes up. It's all connected.
It
You
is.
know,
It is. Yeah. Someone's got to flip the bill.
and this is
So.
what I mean about these guys who are coming into football who have come into football.
Mm-hmm.
Like the guy who used to own Liverpool, he was a Liverpool fan, you know. He probably played football as a kid. John Henry and all these guys, you know, Todd Bowley
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. None of these guys, I can't really imagine them playing like on Sunday League and stuff like that, you know. They've just come
Mm-hmm.
in for the papers, and what it is, they exploit the fan.
Mm-hmm.
One famous saying being not fans, customers,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
So we might say, oh, our owners are great, this, that, and the other. To a level, yeah, they're okay, but they've exploited us. You know, the way they've increased prices on everything.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the like for the Nike deal? All this. Oh, if we get Nike, Mbappe will walk in. Where did
Mm-hmm.
these rumors come in? Where did these rumors come from? You know, and that's
LeBron,
what football is
LeBron
now.
was going to. Do you remember LeBron was going to convince Mbappe
Oh,
to
oh,
join? Oh,
yeah, yeah.
come on, guys.
Come on, man. LeBron came in, a little bit of money he might have put in the club, and out of that, he's made like a clothing line, this, that, and the other. And I'm thinking, Why? Like, come on. We don't need that sort of nonsense at our club. We couldn't even get a DM in January,
Mhm.
to wrap up the league. So for me, the way our club has gone, it's like really, really cringe.
Mhm.
And what happened is Klopp didn't really get the sufficient funds throughout his career with us, you know. But
Mhm.
they're doing this, they're doing that. We're getting Expedia, AXA Insurance doing the training ground. So publicity wise, marketing wise, the clubs are right at the top. They're getting
Mhm.
deals done, but we do not see that benefiting us on the pitch, and that's
Yeah,
what it all boils down to, bro.
yeah. Burnett says it's business. At the end of the day, they are not fans. They want profits. Spot on. Hyler says Edwards isn't the type of character of spending 100 million, except when Liverpool first have unloaded a major income or a major asset, like in the Coutinho example. So if we are selling a seller for a major transfer fee, for example, 100 million transfer could be done, or we could see it being done. Um, that's like, for instance, though, I mean, that $100 million that's 100 million, euro pound transfer to be done is similar to what, I mean, you can say what you want about Darwin Nunez, but I think Darwin Nunez, you could ask for a fee. Now, whether they're going to pay that fee or not, that's one thing or another. But
Who do you, if you
um,
were to say three clubs, if you were to say three clubs, now let's just be realistic in the chat as well. Three clubs that you think would and could give Liverpool more than 60 million for Darwin Nunez this summer.
more than 60.
Who do you? No, more than 60. I mean, more than 60. Like two clubs that could and would be prepared because I don't see where the market is for this guy.
I think
Because
one
he's going to
I
go,
would
he's going to
do.
go.
I could see Chelsea. I could see Arsenal both doing it, considering they could both use a striker, and considering that both of them were in the market for Darwin originally, and I could certainly see. But it's highly unlikely. But I mean, obviously, there's not many transfers that go. There have been, but there's not many that do go between Manchester United and Liverpool. But Darwin would be, I'm sure a lot of Red Devils would love to have Darwin Nunez as their striker, especially if it meant Darwin Nunez figuring it out, okay? And them having Darwin Nunez when he figures out how to be a, top tier scoring striker, and for that to be with them and have that to be us having to face Darwin Nunez. If I was an owner, I'd do something like that, to be honest with you. It would be
To
a major,
me,
major smack in the face if Nunez were to do that himself. But
I'll test that one out.
yeah,
You think a lot of Man United fans would be happy to have Darwin Nunez?
I think they would be. I think Darwin Nunez is a better striker than anything they have right now currently.
yeah.
I think even
I
you,
don't.
Irishman,
So
can
if
say
you,
that.
what would you,
Even you can say that.
no, that's no, he's is he better than Ireland? I suppose he probably. But I'm just if you're putting a price on him, you're talking an English tax. If you were to sell him to an English club, I think he'd be too expensive. I think Chelsea are going to back Action Jackson and Nkunku. I don't think they'll go nuts again. Arsenal 100% do need a striker. Would they go for Darwin Nunez at the money we'd want? Not sure they would. I think it'd be a continental move for him. That's why. See, I'm counting out the Premier League for Darwin.
Same as,
That's what
same as.
I'm counting out.
I'm
the
counting
Premier
it
League
out.
for
I would
Darwin.
count out the Premier League simply because I don't think that you want to. I look at it as you don't want to give a player the opportunity to play against you, in my opinion. Okay,
Yeah.
No, I
so
think he'd rather leave England if he left Liverpool. I don't think.
That's what
yeah,
I think. Yeah. Hot
yeah,
country.
yeah.
So yeah, if I'm just thinking like that's what I'm saying. All the people that want to sell him, it's like you have to be realistic. Like, tell me the club that's going to give us the price.
Mhm.
that has a place for him and that has the budget for him, because you have to think about it. And when you start thinking about it, you say, okay, a club that can A, afford him, a club that B, he'll be happy to go to, C,
Yes,
Mhm.
can
yeah.
afford his wages. It gets, the parameters get pretty narrow after a while, you know. So I think if you count out the Premier League, I really don't see, like, oh, Barcelona. Barcelona can't afford him. They can
PSG
go
could,
into
I think.
PSG could. Yes,
Mm-hmm. Maybe
PSG could
that's
Mbappe
true.
going.
definitely afford
That
him.
is true. Yes, that is true. If Harry Kane
I'll
decided
tell
he
you the truth.
wanted to
You
go
know
back
who
to
could
England,
afford him?
Bayern could take him.
I mean, for possibly for like 60. I wouldn't say you're saying pounds, 60, or obviously if you're
Well,
going
I'm saying
outside, then you have to say
plus.
euros. Saying
Yeah,
euros
I'm saying
because
plus
you're going
60.
outside.
I'm saying 60, but I was kind of saying basically working on a giving us our money back kind of scenario where we put up 65, potentially
I think
85.
A Portugal club could possibly do something like that. A Portuguese club, knowing that how he's done so well in their league, especially, you're bringing that kind of caliber player back to a place where obviously he's adjusted to, enjoys the life and style, and obviously was very culture toward it. He could go back to like
I'd see he
Sporting
might.
or Benfica or something like that.
I'd say he might see that as a kind of a two backwards. Like I can see him going to like where Atletico Madrid, right? He's got that Atletico Madrid type,
Mhm.
doesn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
Nunez played there, or Suarez
There's no
played
other
there.
team. I mean, would he go to Dortmund? No. Would he go to? He's not going to Leipzig or going to Leverkusen or something like that. So like he's not going most likely, and he's definitely not going to Bayern Munich. So I mean, Germany's pretty much out. Um, would he go?
To me, he's
I
a
mean,
he's a
would
dominant.
Juventus? Would Juventus I mean,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
would a Juventus or would maybe like
Yeah,
a
Inter.
Inter go for him? He would cook in the Italian league, by the way.
Yeah,
To
yeah.
I think
me,
he would
he's a
definitely cook.
domino player. He's a domino player. And by a domino player, I mean he doesn't go anywhere until boom, someone leaves. Like
Yeah, but you'd have to
he's
make
not
room
going
for
anywhere, and
him.
then boom,
Yeah,
Harry
yeah,
Kane.
I agree with that.
Then all of a sudden, Harry Kane leaves Bayern. Now Bayern in the market for a striker.
Now Bayern more, yeah.
So now he
right.
moves. Now I'm not saying Nunes. I'm just talking about domino players.
Yeah.
They're guys that will not be sold unless the first move happens. If that first move happens, like if Gareth Bale leaves Tottenham, then all these other guys get sold. If
I mean, you want to bring
Kane,
a charismatic, obviously very, he's somewhat polarizing with our fan base here, but I mean, like the PSG is a shout too. I mean, like he go to PSG, he could become a superstar in Paris.
I think
Yeah.
he'd
They would,
work well at
I
PSG.
mean, with the way that like a lot of fans gravitate towards him because of his energy and his likability, he would definitely do well at Paris. And I mean, it wouldn't be such a
They're
place that
building
he
a slightly
couldn't
different
cook.
project.
It wouldn't the amount of pressure that is on his back would be certainly different at a Paris than it would be at a London club or something like that, or even at Liverpool as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I
and
think
they're
Brian
building a
said.
slight. Oh, sorry,
Mhm.
sorry. Go ahead, JK. Sorry. Go ahead.
I should say, I think Brian got the club right. The Atletico Madrid. He's that
I
type
thought
of
it
player.
as a shout.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a shout.
That's a shout.
That's a shout.
They love a
Especially
South American.
with if Torres stays at the club too, because I think Torres is with the club, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he
That would
is.
be a
He
shout.
is.
That would be that'd be a pretty incredible shout. Be an
They
opportunity
love
for
a South American maverick there. They really like
Yeah.
as well. Look, they obviously they love him in Spain, but I mean they love that kind of kind of chaos.
But Atletico Madrid. When's the last time? I'd have to look up their. Let me look it up too while we're thinking about it, because I don't think Atletico. I can't remember too many big time other than maybe Griezmann, right? I don't know of many other acquisitions that they've had, and that was after he had already gone to Barcelona and they'd already gotten the money for him. How many other big name?
Oh, they don't spend
Morata.
No,
They don't spend money like that.
Morata. How much did he cost?
I can find out. But
around
yeah, I
The
just
Depay
don't
went
think
there.
they do.
Depay went
Yeah.
there.
Mhm.
Caruso. He went there as well. But
Like,
they
look,
do get names
Suarez,
going
he's on
there,
32. They're
Mhm.
not afraid to take a risk on a guy with an attitude or a guy with
Yeah, he's a bit
baggage.
different.
Like
Yeah.
Simeone is a hell of a manager.
He is actually.
Mhm.
He's someone that can. But you talk about like he's there longer than Klopp is at Liverpool. He's got something about him. So
Mm.
I'd imagine if they went there, he's the kind of guy who could like turn him into
So their
that 28,
biggest,
29
their
million
record
season.
arrivals at Atletico Madrid have been, well, yes, João Felix was huge. I mean, it was 127 million. That's a major expenditure. But then their next record arrivals was Thomas Lemar at 72 million euros, Diego
Yeah.
Costa at 60 million euros.
Big.
Now we're going way, and then their fourth largest acquisition was Falcao.
Falcao. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they've had them type of strikers up top.
And that was only for 40. And
Yeah.
that was for 40
Falcao.
million. That was for 40 million.
Colombians, Uruguayans.
Yeah.
He fits.
That's one club. Yeah.
Napoli. Napoli is a replacement.
Napoli is another
for
one.
Osimhen.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
Napoli's a
another one.
shout. Yeah.
If Osimhen leaves,
Yeah,
he
money in
could-
the bank.
Yeah.
This one I'm talking about domino. He's a domino.
Domino.
Yeah.
He doesn't
Exactly,
go to Napoli
Ryan.
in a million
Mhm.
years. Osimhen leaves Napoli, he goes to Napoli.
It's true.
One needs to go,
course
and
he
then okay,
Three
well,
outbreaks
it's- but then we need a striker.
Hoyland
so
just
if we
scored,
sell
by the
him,
way.
then we need
They just brought in Rashford. They just brought in Martinez, and Hoyland just scored to make it 3-1. So it looks like Manchester United is trying to make an absolute push for something.
Newcastle falling away. Newcastle.
They've
falling
fallen
away.
on. Yeah, I don't know what's
Can I
going. I mean,
ask-
does Hal
can I
keep
ask
his
quickly-
job? Does Hal keep his job?
Well, I was gonna. That just made me think of one question I forgot to ask because I didn't hear JK's thoughts on earlier. Just even really quickly,
Mhm.
do you think Man United would, not will, but do you think they would give the job to Gareth Southgate?
Do I think? Say it one more time.
No, just to JK,
Oh,
because I know you
okay.
were talking about earlier.
I just want to hear the question. I couldn't hear
Yeah,
the question.
do you think that Man United, not that they will, but do you think they would, if you get the difference,
Mhm.
would give the job to Southgate? Or are they at that point?
Okay. I could see it because
Oh yes.
Southgate, sort of him and Ratcliffe, I can imagine them two getting on. And if Southgate wins the Euros, then I could see even more happening. Mm-hmm.
It'd be a mad one. Like he hasn't managed in club football for. That's the thing, Jake. I can actually kind of see it happening too.
Yep.
And like cancel flights to England for 2 weeks because there is a fume cloud over Manchester. If Southgate gets that job, that would be I think that would be funnier.
Worse than Moisey.
Funnier than us getting Hodgson would be Southgate getting the Man United job.
Mhm.
I think that would just be. I think they'll float it in the media like all these guys do.
Yeah.
They'll float it in the media that he's in contention. They'll gauge the reaction, and they'll realize that it's massively negative, so
Yeah.
it won't happen.
You know they actually
I
do
would
do
love
that
it to
too, by the way, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not joking. They do that. Yeah, that's why Twitter exists. They float ideas.
Exactly, Brian. Exactly.
Judge the public. It's basically put it out there for a taste. No, they don't like that. Okay, pretend it was a lie. Yeah, no, we were never mad. No. Oh, Pops, big up Pops.
Yeah, Pops. I think he's saying he won't, if he did that, he won't have time to sort out their summer signings. Is that because of the Euros,
Is that
basically?
the Euros? Yeah. No, I was just wondering, it wasn't a kind of a will. I mean, like I was trying to differentiate them. Will they? I don't mean will. I mean would they? If you know what I'm saying. Are they the kind
Yeah,
of
yeah.
club right now? Is that how much of a state they're in that they
Hmm.
could potentially hire someone like him?
Does
Yep.
that push it? Does that what Pops is saying? Does that necessarily rule him kind of out?
I think it does. It does, to be honest. But
Because if he's
okay,
not going
let's
to,
put it
because
another way.
they need to bring in some, some real organization to their club during the summer spell, and
If
you know,
quickly I could put it another way. Let's imagine, because they didn't happen, we need a new manager. Imagine if there was a story about him getting the Liverpool job, what the interaction would have been.
there was stories about that, Brian.
Wait,
When
yeah,
we
but
didn't
they were
know, when
laughed,
we didn't
but they were
know,
laughed off. But they were
right?
that's
But
the thing, they were laughed
when we
off
didn't
so
know,
quickly.
I'm just
Yeah,
saying, yeah, when we didn't know that
but I
our
mean, could you
manager was
imagine
going to
there
be
was a
promoted.
credible story came out? Like, could you
Mhm.
imagine if we still didn't have a manager, and tomorrow a story came out that we were seriously considering Southgate?
That
Yeah,
would
like
be,
that story came. Yeah, can you
Oh,
imagine
oh, oh,
the
oh, oh.
yeah,
reaction to that?
yeah,
Oh, it'd be mad.
yeah,
Yeah,
Forget
but to
2 weeks,
think that
don't come
even
fly to England. Don't come
yeah,
for
yeah,
2 years.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, that'd be
Liverpool is a
horrible.
war zone. Yeah,
yeah. That would
honestly.
not look good. That
That
would
would be
not
the
So
look
can
good.
worst
you
thing
imagine
ever.
they gave it to him? This is what I'm saying. This is the levels we're at
This is what I'm
Is it?
saying.
Would you see it,
Yeah.
JK? Would you see it like Jarrett sees it right here?
Oh, of course. Of course, because Hodgson did the England thing as well, didn't he? So I think Southgate he's another type of guy. He's just been lucky in his life in that way. Like he wasn't a great footballer, you know what I mean? Missed a penalty for England. Um, didn't do no club football management really, where he won a league, he did this or won an FA Cup, whatever. Walked straight into the England job. He hasn't been a bad England manager, but anti-Liverpool throughout. You know, Joe Gomez ends up going training there. He gets injured big time, and then no one was ever mentioned who did it. We all know who
Mhm.
did that. So for me, he's cringe, Southgate. You know, never liked him as a player. Never liked him as a character. So for me, Man United and him together, marriage made in heaven.
Yeah, yeah. Um, let me see this right here. There was another thing I wanted to put up because, like,
Guevara, if he's available, go get him.
yeah, you saw that. Yeah, I was just trying to
Oh,
comment on that.
ooh, if he was like, because you know the way they won the league and they were the next big thing and everyone wanted them, and so they've dropped off. So they were the Kvaratskhelia and Osman and Kim Min Jae. They only ended up losing him. Everyone wanted them. They were going to move here, there, and everywhere. They never ended up moving. Now they didn't do so good this year, so people aren't talking about him so much. And he's
Yeah,
still the player he was. So if a guy like him was available,
yeah.
yeah, I wouldn't mind putting a big check down for
It's
someone like that.
interesting. I mean, like, but what are you expecting from that too, though? Because I mean, like, what's very interesting about that? I was just about to put those statistics out there. Is that because that's what he was saying. Says Diaz and Diaz are very similar. I agree. I agree completely. They're very similar. I personally think that Diaz is a little bit better dribbler than KK, but um, if you look at it, the output is pretty much the same. I get like right now, Diaz is on 8 goals and 5 assists in the league, and KK is on 10 goals, 6 assists in the league.
Yeah, no, I
In
just expect him to
obviously
come in
Italy,
and
but two different
hit
leagues. I understand that,
hit the
but
heights. Come in and hit the heights. Go and show
yeah,
what you can do.
and
Yeah,
it can
like
be argued
he's
that it's even more difficult to score to get
no, it
those
will
kind of
be.
numbers in the Prem than it would be in Italy.
Yeah, no, it will be. But it's just like if you can bring in. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm not going to hang my hat on that. It's just the player that he is.
Mm-hmm.
He's the kind of guy that will improve
It's just 3-2,
most
3-2. Newcastle just scored. It is 3-2. Lewis Hall was the scorer for Newcastle in the 90th minute, but it might be too little, too late because it's still 3-2. And also in that Chelsea, it might be all but a wrap as well. As wow, a lot of extra time in that Chelsea matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Already in the 90th minute, but it's like at least they're already 11 minutes into extra time.
So we've got 11 minutes, yeah?
11 minutes played so far.
What's the score in the Chelsea game?
And the Chelsea game's 2-1.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah, Brighton. Danny Welbeck scored in the 90th minute.
of course he bloody did.
That guy's been playing for centuries.
I know. It seems like saying that name, you're like, what? You're like, sometimes you gotta just double check and be like, does he have keys do you have keys to the DeLorean?
No, but fair play to him. And, you know, Man United, Arsenal, still going strong, man. Fair play to him.
Yeah. I don't know how many extra minutes, how much time they put on
he was at Man United.
Huh?
True.
You almost forget he was at Man United. He's like, I mean, they're the Brighton thing that gets talked about all the time is their data, and they're bringing in these young players and these yada yada yada. You know, they're getting this guy to get Milner, Lallana, Welbeck. Like these are old footballers.
Mm-hmm.
These aren't young scouting from South America guys. They also have.
How are you gonna forget?
Super
Brian?
experienced.
Brian, I'm gonna call you out. How are you gonna forget it? You didn't say. Did you say Milner?
Yeah. Milner, Lallana, and Welbeck. Yeah.
Got you. Just making sure.
Yeah.
Because and especially he's gonna be back for another year.
Yeah, he got a new deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not just young kids they bring
in. Yeah.
But Brighton haven't been great this season. Pretty, not really good. I think under Potter they look better. They were better actually. Tougher to beat. Yeah.
He hasn't been seen for a while. He's took his paycheck from Chelsea and said, you know what, bund that management game for a year and a half now.
Yeah. Holidays.
Because someone actually made a really good point to me the other day about him. It's like, if you look at Graham Potter's career, right, as a player, right, he didn't grow up in he didn't play in the he's not some millionaire footballer basically, right? He had a normal career at a very low level. Then he goes to Sweden, Östersunds, right? Probably, just making, nice money, decent money, but, enough to live on and have a nice car and a decent house, but not millionaire shite, right? Nowhere near it. Absolutely nowhere near it. He's got a wife, kids, mortgage, bills, proper bills. Then goes to a high level with Brighton. Okay, maybe earning 5-6 grand a week, maybe at Brighton, maybe. Again, really nice money, but not change your life, never have to work again. Your kids never have to work again. Money, it's a really nice income, yeah. But again, he's probably just doing okay. Then he goes to Chelsea, and the next thing he gets sacked, he's got 12 million quid in his bank account. He's just sitting like he can go anywhere. He's like he can kick back for 2 years. Like this guy has literally paid all his bills for life overnight, having gone from being always having to work hard and to just being like, yeah, let's go on holiday for 2 years. No, come on, we're going literally, wife, kids, we're going around the world. We're going to go to Australia. We're going to like literally can do whatever just from one check off Chelsea after 6 months.
That should be a film. That should. Graham Potter, the jammy fucker.
Just like his bank manager must be going. Do you want to come out for dinner tomorrow night? Now, listen, I'll give you some new terms here. But he's gone from having an okay living to never having to work again in his life.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like it's because you think about the Marinos and the Villas-Boas, they get their big payout. Like Graham Potter probably never earned more than, let's say, 100 grand a year in his life.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
all of a sudden getting sacked by Chelsea. And it's like, oh well, here's your payoff. Well, look, here's a check for 12 million quid. Just go away, will you?
I thought it was more
I,
actually.
Well, that's the problem with what like Chelsea has to deal
him and
with.
his staff cost to sack Potter and hire the guy to replace Potter. Tuchel, not Tuchel. The way they did it, it came out in their accounts. It cost 50 million to
Yeah,
hire Potter because they had to
yeah,
break him out of Brighton. All
yeah.
his staff to hire them and sack them and hire his replacement cost Chelsea 50 million quid in one season.
Just went final, by the way, in Old Trafford. 3-2 is the final. Just went final. Eric Sevenhog, excuse me, is I always pronounce his name wrong for some reason. Eric Sevenhog. Is
It's Dutch. It's difficult to
all
say. It's
smiles.
Dutch.
Yeah, it's Dutch. I think that's how they say it in Dutch, right?
Yeah.
I
Um,
think I think that 7-0 is another. It's like on the level. I wouldn't say on the level of the Barcelona game for Klopp, but a special game for Klopp. That 7-0. Yeah. No one really talks about that game enough.
yeah, but what Reels and Jared is
Big-
saying is true. It says it was because it was a 6-year contract for Potter.
Mhm.
They're not doing those kind of deals for managers really anymore.
Oh
Agent
yeah,
Hoffman's 5-year deal worth 60 million is
Yeah,
sitting
60.
pretty. Oh, absolutely. If someone said, "Hey, yeah, we're gonna sack you, but you're still getting paid," I was like, "Cool. See you on the beach." See you on the beach.
oh yeah. Like I wasn't one. I wasn't saying like they had to kind of negotiate it.
Right.
They paid up the contracts. Yeah, they bring him in like, but even if they'd only bring him in on a 4, they sacked him so quickly. They were paying
Yeah.
up their entire deals.
Mhm.
Then they bring in Lampard. I mean, the guys were just in a mess. Like if we'd spent that kind of money in a single season on managers,
Mm-hmm.
because we couldn't, tell our heads, our arse from our elbows, they say.
Mm-hmm.
These owners get criticized at the moment for pretty much not being rich is all I can see. Like everything our owners have done, pretty much the only thing they fall short on is not being rich. If you look at our accounts are public. You don't need to be a super sleuth to look at where our money goes or what's been spent on. It's there. You can buy shares in Liverpool, therefore our accounts are public. So you can look at them and you can see where all the money goes. Most of it goes on wages, and also I would say go back and look at a picture of Anfield when FSG took over and take a
Mm-hmm.
look at a picture of Anfield now. You'll notice some differences. Did
Mm-hmm.
that ground ever close? No, it didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Also, go back to 2000 and what year did FSG take over? Call it 2010, right? It's not 2000. I know it isn't, right? And Google Kirby Training Center in 2010. There won't be a picture because it didn't exist, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just been built. That's where some of the money goes. Also, the main difference between, yes, there are like we are owned by a hedge fund. Of course we are. That's what we're owned by. But there's worse ones than there are. Of course, it's not some guy that loves the club and he's not, because those days are gone. Steve Morgan wanted to take over the club. His net worth was 300 million when he wanted to take over the club. His net worth was 300 million. Steve Morgan. He's like, give it to me. I'm a Liverpool fan. It's like the club costs more than 300 million, Steve. You're just not. You're a big fish, but you're not that big anymore. The game has gone beyond you. So then you look at, right, what else have they done? The Glazers take out about 2 million a year. They take dividends. That's what they do. They take money out. They drain money out. The Glazers, the family themselves have taken, I think, about 60, personal wealth out of that club.
Mm-hmm.
FSG, John Henry, do not extract money from Liverpool. They never have.
Yeah,
That's the thing that gets thrown at them. They're greedy Americans. I'm sorry, but they have never extracted money from the club on a dividend basis. They do not take dividends. He takes his cut. John Henry will make his buck when he sells.
yeah,
That's the way he looks at it. He
yeah.
says, I'm going to take over
He's
this
not
thing
hurting for
that's worth.
money right now. Yeah,
Yeah, but
he's
he
not hurting
takes
for
over a
money.
thing worth 10 million and he
Yeah,
says, I'm not going to take 100 grand out of it every year.
yeah,
I'm going to keep it for 20 years, turn it into something that's worth 200 million. And when I sell it, that's when I get my cut.
right,
I leave it. I don't take any, not a single
right.
cent.
Because his
Does he
portfolio
take?
is looking like, as a hedge fund manager, he understands his portfolio is the
This
important bottom
is,
line. It's not about how much you make
it's,
from these entities every year. It's
it's
about what your portfolio adds up to be.
when you invest in a brand new company, okay, when you invest in a startup, and basically Liverpool was almost like a startup for them. When you invest in a startup, you do not want to see dividend from day one, right? It's a brand new company. I give you 100 grand. You don't expect dividend immediately. What you expect
Mhm,
is growth,
mhm,
okay? Growth, so that it grows. You don't expect, oh, I put 100 million in, I want my 100 million back tomorrow. No, you over 10 years, you don't expect dividend, you expect growth.
Yep,
And then when it gets to the point where you can extract, as they say, or leave, you
yep,
then get your cut. But
yep.
you don't expect it to pay you 10 grand every week when it's just starting up and it needs all its money to go and go and go.
Right. That
You're
you
an
need to like
investor.
invest in and
Yeah,
build the foundational
you're not
pieces for it to
billing
have.
it every week. Yeah, you're saying, I'm
Yeah,
putting my money in, and in 10 years' time, but I'm not going to extract money every week because that's not how business. You need your money, you need your cash. So it's about growth, and
yeah,
that's why I find it very funny that he gets criticized for taking over a club that was worth 300 million,
yeah, yeah.
and now it's worth 3 billion. He gets
Hmm.
criticized for that. I
Yeah.
mean, someone had to turn it into something that was worth 3 billion. It
Hmm.
didn't just happen on its own. He
Hmm.
saw all the things that were falling short on, and don't forget,
And knew he
he
could.
bought the club
Yeah,
thinking there was FFP. Never
yeah.
forget, he thought that it was going to be a level playing field, and
Yep,
Liverpool on its own should make enough money. So
yep.
that's my monthly FSG defense out the door. But
Report.
also, I would love
Yeah.
Sponsored,
Send all letters and correspondence to the Irishman.
so
sponsored
there you
by
go.
John Henry.
Yeah.
He's a
And
Virgo.
go F yourself.com or something.
Yeah, I just seek balance. I seek balance in the universe. Of
There
course,
you
I
go.
wish we could
There
spend 500 million quid a player, on players. Of
you go.
course I do. But I don't
Yeah.
want, as long as I don't want us to end up in a Chelsea situation getting a transfer ban. Don't forget they got a transfer ban
Yeah, yeah.
a couple of years ago. So the
One
Man
last thing
City, they
before we
easily their
bounce.
way in.
One last thing before we bounce, because this was interesting news that honestly put in there, and I did say I would bring it up. Real Madrid have closed the door on both Alfonso Davies and Lenny Oro, with LFC in need of market for both a left back and center back. He couldn't, could he?
He could.
They've closed. They've closed the door on. Oh, so that means they're not buying them.
Nah,
Nope.
nah.
I mentioned that before, and but like I got pushback. Alfonso Davies going to Madrid, da da da, and I'm like, I don't. According to reports, Real Madrid have moved on.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
not looking to spend
I've
that
had
kind of
also
money
heard that was
on
a
him,
done deal. Yeah.
on Alfonso Davies at least.
Yeah. No, I'd also heard
Big
that
up,
was a
Marion.
done dealio for Davies to Madrid. So yeah, that's we
Mhm.
were talking about it last night. I know, but so that means Yarrow. Okay, I know his name, but only since about a month ago. Latest big new,
Oh
the
yeah.
new Saliba, the new French centre half
Hmm.
prodigy.
The
Hmm.
new
They seem to
Saliba.
come up with one of every 6 months. They seem to have a new.
Yeah. The new this.
Yeah, the new Canate, the
Knew
new.
this, knew that.
They can't stop
Yeah,
making
yeah.
centre halves. Davies.
Sleever's not even won anything.
I don't think he
Might-
has.
Well, no, I
But
mean
he's
the new
got.
sleeve.
But
I mean
you know
the
what?
new young.
But you know what,
fresh
though?
Stars
I'll
that
say
have
this.
coming through kind of thing.
With Euro, he's got a very Matip style frame to him. He's very 6'3", very like
He's gangly.
wiry. Yeah,
He's gangly. Yeah, we call him.
Yeah,
we'd say
gangly. Yeah.
Yeah, long and what? Yeah, not much muscle on him. But
no.
Yeah, very thin. Yeah.
Current market
Is he the
value
right
on
age?
transfer market is 40 million euros. That's his current
he's
market
young,
value.
right? He
He
he's
is
They'll go for more,
18 years
yeah.
old.
Oh yeah,
He's
no,
eight.
that's
He's 18 years old.
yeah, no, that's not what we need. I mean, get him, cool, bring him in, but we need 24. We
Yeah,
need
24. Yeah.
Be a
piece
very,
for the
very
future.
right. Be very interesting. Plays for Lille right now. 6'3".
They're ripping. No, no, they're ripping it up. I saw his name the first time was about a month ago in one of those, top 10 wonder kids for the summer. You know those kind of lists.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So he's very, but 18. No, we need someone.
I wouldn't mind.
fancy that one.
I wouldn't mind if they got him
and another
plus
one.
someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah, not as the main dude.
Not as the
Nah.
main,
As
not
the
as
side
the
dish.
main center back to replace Matip, as being
Yeah.
a veteran presence. I don't want that.
Not
But I mean,
Kwanzaa at that age.
but for
He's
someone to possibly be, the future center back
Kwanzaa.
pairing with
Yeah.
with Kwanzaa
Kwanzaa.
and Euro, that'd be a different story. That'd be exciting. That'd be a very exciting future.
It's kind of like one of those things, isn't it? Where like when you were doing it the other night with your thing, if you'd had 40 million quid left over, it's like, yeah, let's go and get Euro as well.
Let's go do it. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's kind of look, if he ends up at 18 though, come on, let these guys alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's crazy.
But Davies would interest me.
Yeah, for me,
a
100%
lot
Davies.
more.
Yeah. I'll be
So
straight
what's
after
the
him.
crack here then? So what's the crack here? Let's
It
get into
is
this
true.
Davies thing. What's the
I don't know
story
if
with him? What's his fee? What's he going to cost? What's he going to want in wages? Like, what are we actually talking about with this guy? Like
yeah.
he's
I'll tell you.
cheap because he's a year left, right? He's going to be
Yeah.
cheaper.
Who's this?
Well,
Oh, you mean are you talking about Davies?
For Davies,
Yeah.
yeah. So he's going to want big money, right?
So one, apparently this is the talks. Manchester United are ready to agree on a deal for 70 million euros for Lenny Euro ahead of Real Madrid.
Are you take serious 7? Are you the guy we were just talking about?
70 million
Man,
euros. 70 million euros.
quid for him. Oh Jesus, man!
Yes.
Well, Man United
that's-
are mad. Man
Yeah.
United got no
Come
clue.
on, man.
They never
See what I
learn.
was just saying?
He is a player that was at the beginning of the year. He was worth. They had him on the market at 20 million. Now they're talking 70 million.
Of course he
because
did.
you know what?
He couldn't even
Yeah.
drink. He wasn't even legally allowed to drink about it.
Yeah.
Christ almighty, man.
Yeah.
70 million quid.
Yeah, because that's
Yeah.
the owners, bro. The owners of them clubs and them players who they play for, they want to get it out there straight away when he's young, because that's when that's when the best prices come out. Oh, he's gonna be this great, this great, this great, this great, just to keep that fee up. That's like proper marketing for they're humans, But it's like that guy's thinking now I'm 18, not even 18, I can't even drink and that. They're putting 40 million, 50 million price tags on my head. So he could go downhill after that.
70 though, to go to a club
That's
that
crazy.
size at that age.
See, this is where it's interesting. So if you want to hear this report, this is the report. It says reports in Europe have suggested that while Real Madrid were interested in Davies and vice versa, this is Real Madrid, does not want to pay 40 million euros for him. That's all it will apparently cost for them to sign him. Would be 40 million euros to sign him this summer. The Spanish club reportedly is prepared, and this was just released last month, so this is a pretty recent report. The Spanish club reportedly is prepared to wait another year to land Davies on a free transfer if a deal cannot be made with Bayern.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's what it is. I think that they're getting smart. Real Madrid understands the fact that, look, players want to play for us.
them. Yeah.
And now, especially now, when more often than not, players are getting into their final year of a contract, and rather than negotiating an extension, they know they can find another place to play. So they're just saying to themselves, you know what? Cool. I'll ride this contract out.
Yep.
Some of the bigger boys, yeah, they can't if they're lucky.
Yeah.
You'd always get guys that will need that security, but the
There are
bigger
those.
boys,
Yes, you're right.
you know,
about that.
also, do your ACL.
Oh yeah, then you're taking a gamble. You're taking a certain gamble.
You are taking a real big gamble, and also, but if I'm not correct, or if I'm not mistaken, has
Daryl is
he not
right about
made a
this, by
bit
the
of
way.
has he not made a bit of a big stink about trying to get out of Bayern?
He has made a big stink, and he also
Yeah.
has with what Jared was asking too, and
I might have to sell him.
and what Pops is saying too. He says, is it true Davies wants to play left back? Doesn't want to play left back, excuse me, and he wants to play in the midfield. And then Pops goes on to say he isn't out of contract yet, right? He has 1 year left.
1 year. Yeah,
He'll have this. This will be his last year coming up. He isn't out of contract yet, and was rumored to want out of left back.
Trentiitis, he got the same thing as Trentiitis.
Right.
They don't want to play where
we
they
don't need
want
two
to
of
play.
them.
Imagine them two
we
on
don't
each
need
side.
two of them.
Forget about it.
Yeah,
Forget
a
about
left
it.
back and a right back that both want to play midfield would be awesome.
That'd
But
be
he
crazy.
plays. He even plays sometimes striker for Canada, doesn't he?
He plays.
Yeah, I think so.
Well,
I
he
think
plays
it is.
winger.
He
He
never
plays.
plays.
I mean, I don't.
He never plays left back for them. He plays.
Left wing. I don't know if he plays
I've seen
striker
him.
because they have
But
they
he's
have
played
that other
up front.
guy that plays in France right now as well.
Yeah.
That plays their striker.
But I mean, they don't use. It's like when David Alaba goes to Austria.
Mhm.
Like he basically plays left wing, center mid, number 10, because
Right.
he's just so good. Like but yeah, I think Davies never plays anyway
Mhm.
defensively for Canada, so I can totally get him wanting to be more of an offensive. Because yeah, in any team other than Madrid, he is a left winger, probably. But that's his problem when you go to a club that big. It's like I say, in any other club, he probably would be close to the main man, if
Mhm.
not one of the main men. But you go to Madrid, it's like, no, we got Vinny, we got Mbappe, we got bloody Endrick, we got
Mhm.
Bellingham, we got, so you're not even, don't come here asking to
Mhm.
be played in certain positions.
Canada
You know,
plays a
so-
4-4-2, and in the 4-4-2, he plays a virtual wing, but it's like but
Still playing, is he?
he plays on the left side of the 4-4-2 in the midfield for Canada.
Mhm.
But often, like I was saying, they have Kyle Larin, and they also
Very
have
much their main man.
and they have
though, isn't he?
Jonathan David, who played. That's the guy who's saying plays in
Yeah.
France.
He's very much
And
their
Jonathan
main man.
David. Jonathan David is a good striker, by the way. He is
He's
a
another
talented-
one. Like he's rapid as hell.
Yeah. I mean, like considering all things considered, I mean, like you would think there could be argument that Alphonso Davies isn't the fastest player on his own on his own national team, to be honest with you, and he's rapid himself.
Mhm.
But yeah, I would love to see. Look, if it means figuring something out, let's figure it out. Let's
Yeah.
figure
He's
it
not a
out.
prima donna or
For
anything, is he?
Alphonso Davies to play for us.
Does he have a rep? He's not a prima donna or anything, is he? Does he have a good rep or a bad rep? I mean, off the pitch, is he a
I can
problem
tell you that
child?
too.
Is he?
Give me
I
one
just
second.
mean, in
Yeah,
Germany,
he's a player.
is he?
No,
Is he
I
a
mean, like
party boy? Is he? Does he have? Do you know? So I don't know much
that
about
part I
him.
don't
Like,
know.
is he? But
Well,
is he
I
one of those
think,
guys that
That part.
kicks up a stink or?
well, at Bayern, they don't really stand for that, and I don't think he would have lasted that long there if he would kept on doing it. But maybe he just probably
Mhm.
you don't want that strict way of life there because Bayern's a proper strict club now. Probably
Mhm.
wants to change, you know. So, but I feel if Klopp was still at their realm, we had more of a chance of getting him.
I
If there was
suppose
I
a
what
would
I'm
say,
saying
yeah,
potential.
is,
no, I agree with you.
does he?
I was just,
Would he
I'm
pass
looking at,
the
look, he
no
works for
dickheads policy?
his,
But
yeah, yeah.
would he pass the no
Um,
dickheads test?
would
Is
he
what I'm
pass that?
saying.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, that's him. Is he one of those
I was
guys?
going to say that he's got Canadian representation. His sport agent group
Oh
is
wait,
called ATG Sports Management. Huh?
I was going to. I no, I was when it
ATG
came to
is
the
the name of
Canadian
his
there.
sports management group. Yeah, Canadian. Yeah, and he's probably no, I wouldn't even say probably. He's definitely the biggest name that they represent. The closest, I wouldn't even say closest, because like I'm looking at these market values for the players that they have under their wing. The other players, they're all pretty much Canadians that they represent one way or another. They some have dual citizenship, like but for instance, Jaden Nelson obviously plays for who's he play for again? Oops, I didn't click it. He plays I'm thinking of another Jaden. I'm thinking of another Nelson. He plays for Rosenborg BK. Basically, I think isn't that in Germany? I want to say.
No, it's in
Rosenborg, Swedish.
Norway.
No, is that Dutch?
Norway.
Oh, Norway. Okay.
Norway.
Dutch. That's
Rosenborg.
Yeah, they used to be in Champions
it's
League
Norway.
back in the
It's
days,
Norway.
for sure.
Norway.
Yeah,
It's Norway.
Rosenborg.
Rosenborg.
Yeah, they did check it. They always used
Yeah.
to.
They used to be in it.
Yeah.
They were.
So
They were
that's the
team that was
biggest name on here, like Jaden Nelson, Ali Ahmed, Ahmed. Like, but their market
So are we
values are like
thinking,
3.3
is this guy
million, 2 million.
Is this guy a goer for us though? Seriously, do we think this guy is actually someone we could get?
I'd be all in for it.
See,
I would be all in.
basically, the point I was
But the
trying to get
problem
at
is, does he do? I was gonna say real quick. The problem is, does Davies do exactly what Mbappe did? You want to go to Real Madrid? Cool. Well, now all of a sudden they'll say, "You want to come here? Cool. Roger contract out, and then we'll talk. Come on a free, and it saves them that expense."
No, that was just what I was basically trying to ask JK.
Is that a player?
Without you, I never got around to it. Has he burnt his bridges at Bayern? Because I was under the impression that he had burnt his bridges at Bayern.
Yeah,
could
that's
he
what
stay there? Yeah, you see, that's what I was thinking. This guy has.
I don't know. But Bayern makes so weird, Brian. Because like, I would say that too. But like, you know, they take on Sane, for instance. By taking on Sane, I was like, okay, that's a problem child in a sense as well. Obviously, that City couldn't get rid of him fast enough. They took then they're like, you know what, City, you got another problem. Cool, can say, you know.
But I mean, since he's been there, I mean, I just thought he kind of made himself say like, "I'm leaving. I'm out. I want to go." Like I haven't been following this transfer. I thought he was done deal to Madrid, and I thought he was done deal. And one of the reasons was because he kind of kicked up a big stink. So there was no chance that he was going to be staying there. So that's why I'm thinking, well, this guy could definitely be on the market. But if he hasn't burnt his bridges and can stay there, then he probably definitely will go to Madrid on a free, because that's what Madrid will. Because Madrid are got to kind of do that power move where they go, look, just stay there for a year and then we'll come and get you next summer, which is a real kind of power move kind of thing. Very few clubs can actually do that. So I just it's interesting to me. It is an interesting scenario of how it's going to work.
Yeah, and then two, I think Daryl was asking a question about Junior Hoylett.
He can't still be playing, is he?
He plays for Canada as well, or I
still
think
going.
I think or he either plays for Canada or Jamaica, one of the two. I think I want to say he plays for.
Oh man, he must be nearly 40 at this stage. And
He's
Junior
33.
Hoyle's
Yeah, he's
still
33.
going.
He's
only
33. Yeah,
33. Jeez, he's been
plays for
around
Canada.
forever, man.
Yeah, he's not, but he doesn't. But he barely plays. I don't think he.
I remember him at QPR. He was
Yeah,
wasn't he at Fulham.
even in the starting lineup, like Canada's starting lineup, he does not get the start at left wing over.
I can't believe
Um,
he's only 33. That's mental.
Yeah, he's 33 years old. And but their front line would be David because they sometimes do play a 4-3-3. Because they played Jamaica twice, I remember, and they played the first time they played them 4-4-2, and then the second time they played them in a 4-3-3. And in the 4-3-3, Davies once again was actually just in at left mid, and then the left winger was Larin, Larin, Kyle Larin, and then they had their striker being David, and then they had I'm gonna go blank on the stupid name. Buckman on the right. Yeah, Buckman on the right. But I don't think he gets that. He might be off the bench maybe if he gets a call up, but he doesn't really play for them, for Canada. At least I don't. I don't remember. I don't remember seeing him play too much. I know that he played. I think he did play in that last Jamaica game that I spoke of, but it wasn't until like the very end, and they ended up losing it. I think they ended up losing that game too. I want to say, yeah, they ended up losing that game because that's the game that Canada played Jamaica, and then it was like I want to say it's for like a tournament that we're in. Yeah, it's for Nations League. So, yeah, he says it was at Cardiff. There's no way. 33. I don't know. I know you have to tell me why you're bringing him up, Daryl, because he's definitely not someone we're going for at 33 or 40 or whatever Brian wants to put him at.
Just a Canada talk.
Just a Canada talk. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's definitely not going our way. But I would love to see us go for. Alphonso Davies. One of the primary reasons why I would love to see us go for Alphonso Davies is because he's not on. He's not on, for instance, Delict wages currently. So like that could be. At least you could start to have that conversation. I remember I brought up how he was making, I think it was like 96,000 euros, I think, or something like that.
Send me a link on what's on Twitter, will you?
Huh? Oh, I did. I already
Link
did.
on
I
Twitter.
already did.
Oh,
Yeah,
did
I
you?
already did. Yeah. Just in case. I heard your microphone messing up a little bit, so just in case. But yeah. Yeah, stop it, Marion. We're not gonna get into the age thing again. But yes.
That's crazy. No, honestly, that guy has been around for so long. I can't believe he's only
Yeah.
33.
He's like
And genuinely,
he's
that's
like
really
Welbeck.
hard for me to process.
He's like Welbeck. He's
Yeah.
been around for a
Yes.
long time.
But can someone put this link for, because like
For what?
I can't link him. Not an actual link. I can't link Hoylet. I know he arrived in England, but where did he come to England from?
Who's this now?
Junior Hoylet.
Hoylet. Like who? Like I remember
Oh,
at
Hoylet.
QPR. So like, yeah, but what club did he come to England from? Like, was he playing in Germany or Spain or? Oh, I bet he was playing in Holland.
You're talking about.
I bet he was playing.
You're talking
in
about
Holland.
Hoyland that plays for. Wait, you're talking
Yeah,
Hoyland
the
that plays for
junior-
Manchester
the-
United?
No, this
See,
is an
listen.
old school player, bro.
Oh,
No, you know the guy Junior
Hoylet.
Hoylet that we've been talking about for the last
Hoylet,
5 minutes. Yeah, the guy we've been talking about for
Yes.
the last 5 minutes.
Okay,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that Junior Hoylet. Yeah, I'm just trying to say, can someone tell me
got you.
where did he come from? Because I remember him all of a sudden in England, but was he always like at an English club or something? Was he at Arsenal?
Mm-mm.
Honestly, that's really. And to be honest, the big thing is like, how is he not one of the best Canadian players? When you're talking about some guy called Brockheimer or something. Arsenal. I knew he was at Arsenal. I knew he was at Arsenal. Yes, well done, Darren. Yes,
Arsenal
knew it,
Academy. Okay.
yeah, he was at
He
Arsenal.
plays for
Academy.
Aberdeen
Yeah.
now.
Aberdeen. This
I
guy
don't.
gets
Yeah.
better. I'm gonna
Yeah. I mean, he
gonna
might have been
boost him
Arsenal
up.
Academy, but I'll tell you how he got into the probably the confines of you
Premier League.
recognizing his names, because he was at Blackburn. He was at Blackburn under 18s, and then from the Blackburn reserves, he went to Germany for Paderborn, SC
Paderborn, yeah.
Paderborn,
Yeah.
right? Paderborn,
Yeah.
and then from SC Paderborn went
St.
back to Blackburn, then
Yeah.
Blackburn
Blackburn,
reserves,
yeah.
then went back to Germany to the FC St. Pauli, then FC St. Pauli went back to these are all loans, obviously. Blackburn reserves, then stayed at Blackburn for the longest, and then eventually Blackburn sold him for 3.75 million euros to QPR, and then from QPR he eventually got dropped and had no club. Then he got back into that was during the summer. He was out of a club, and then Cardiff picked him up in October because I guess they needed someone. Cardiff picked him up, and then Cardiff ended up letting him go on a free transfer to Reading. Then Reading let him go. He didn't have a club. And then for the summer he was without a club, and then the Vancouver Whitecaps, who are an MLS team, and also the team that Davies played for originally, picked him up, and then Vancouver Whitecaps let him go, and then he was without a team. He was out without. Oh, this is in January. They let him go because they must have either on a short-term contract or something, but they let him go, and then Aberdeen has just picked him up. So definitely a journeyman. That's Daryl. Definitely a journeyman, to say the least. Definitely. So
Interesting facts.
So
he's still playing, man. It's mad.
Yes, he's still playing. Still put it in. Definitely. Still
33.
getting what? Still getting.
He's Jamaican, yeah.
He's getting in the time to. He's Canadian. He's got dual citizenship. He's Canadian and Jamaican.
Because Neil Warnock was the manager of Aberdeen, so he reunited with him.
But he plays for Canada because he played against Jamaica. Oops. Yeah, he played against Jamaica for Canada. So, but yeah, Blackburn Rovers. Yes, that's who he was playing for back in the day.
Yeah, that's the
reserves at least.
That's the Harry Redknapp crazy era at QPR when they were at one point taken over by the world's richest person. Well, yeah, they were. For a while, they were the richest club in the Premier League in terms of owner wealth, because they were taken over by Mittal, guy, is the steel guy in
India. Yeah,
you will know him. Yeah, the Mittals. He was the richest person in England, and he was behind the takeover of them, but he never kind of really went big with the money. But they went big with money from Bernie Ecclestone from Formula One and Flavio Briatore, the Benetton owner, and they bought insane. Like, they brought in Harry Redknapp, and they started buying a load of like the likes of Samba and Cranchar and all these like older guys on crazy old money. Like, it was madness. They spent insane money, and ended up in ended up getting relegated, and nearly
Mhm.
disappearing. But that was a crazy time when you look back at that. Bossingwa,
Yeah.
they
Yeah,
brought
yeah.
in Rio Ferdinand. Do you remember? They brought in Rio Ferdinand. They brought in Bossingwa from Chelsea, and they were
Mhm.
giving Bossingwa 100 grand a week when that was huge money, and they were QPR, and they got relegated, and they
Mhm.
were playing Chelsea, and Bossingwa was walking off the pitch laughing and joking with all the lads.
Mhm.
You know, they just how to destroy a football club with money.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you got to be
Yeah.
wise. JK always said
Well,
you got to be
Exactly.
wise.
Mm-hmm.
speaking of how to destroy a football club, this is the last story I was going to bring up. This was something I did have the complete constructs. I'll read this out for you guys. So, according to reports, if they're found guilty, if City is found guilty of the 115 charges or of these charges that they'll have to deal with, the estimate that we talked about how like there would have to be a spot earlier about how it would have to eventually you'd have to just draw a line, say this is the compensation, that's that, and then move on from it. Let me read this for you. It says the estimation, of potential compensation is based on central payments distributed to Premier League clubs over a specified period, and that's between 2011-2012 season and the 2022-2023 season. And with the estimation being made by a group of data scientists at Best Payout Online or something like that, whatever. Best BPOS. These central payments are divided into 6 categories: equal share, international merit payment, central commercial, facility fees, and merit payment. The latter 2 which are based on the number of televised matches and final league standings, respectively, whilst the former 4 are distributed evenly amongst all Premier League clubs, right? So by using this data, basically, I'll just cut to the chase here. As for the amount of original merit payment, blah, 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 Manchester City received the most of the 37 different teams in the Premier League throughout the time, which they basically, throughout that time, they got 375,453,928 pounds. I'll round it off again. 375 million pounds is what they accumulated over that time. With Jurgen Klopp's side, with the Reds, we were second in earnings with 330 million pounds. I'm rounding up, according to the records. Everton were 7th amongst the clubs on the list, having made 203 million pounds through their merit payments. Okay. So why I'm bringing up all this stuff, right? Because eventually, with all the merit payments, Everton actually gained the most out of any of the 37 clubs, because the Toffees ended up taking home 19 million pounds, while Liverpool only earned 17.5 million pounds, which is 7th most amongst all the clubs from being giving out from the merit payments. Why I'm bringing this up is because apparently with each club's adjusted merit payments added up, it's estimated Manchester City would owe other clubs around a total of 356 million pounds in prize money compensation if they were to be found guilty of breaching FFP rules. It ends up being something like, I think it ends up being like around 30 some odd million or something like that each team gets, or something like that. But it was kind of interesting. Or 36.8 million is what would be handed to. 36.8 million pounds would be given to Everton and Liverpool and other teams too. But Everton and Liverpool will be given 36.8 million pounds. A check written from City to Liverpool if they
Take
get
my
found
sword.
guilty. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's kind of interesting if that actually goes down. You're talking about, I just wanted to bring that. That's my last part and point. Because you
But they
brought up
bring it
about
down,
how,
won't they? They'll boil it down, they'll boil it down, and boil it down, and
yeah, they'll
obfuscate,
figure,
and
yeah, yeah,
appeal it, and this and that. We
yeah,
all just want this thing kind of tied up, really, don't we? Like, we all know, like, the result of this trial, it's like the result of,
yeah,
certain other trials in the past. Like, I mean, Donald Trump is on trial at the moment. Doesn't matter whether he's found guilty or not. We all know he did what he did. It's like the same with City. It's like it doesn't matter what the result of this 115 thing. It's like we all know what they did. It's whether they get punished or not. And even if they do get punished, then what will it be? And how? It'll be.
yeah.
I don't think it'll be satisfying for anybody.
No,
I'm not talking about the Donald Trump thing. I'm talking about the Liverpool thing.
mhm.
It won't really satisfy anybody where it ends up. But we all know what they did. There's nobody out there that, I mean, some City fans can say what they like, but they know. So
Yeah,
it's just when it comes in, we all just want it done and over. And
yeah.
just, if you want
Be nice.
to just move, yeah, and move on from that and just say, okay, if we all have to deal with them being found innocent when everyone knows they're guilty, well, now we know where we stand. I just want to know where
Yep,
we stand. All you ever want to know in
yeah,
life is where do you stand. That's
yep,
all you want to know is what the crack is. What's the lay of the land here? If it's
mhm,
okay to cheat, okay, cool. That's what the story is. Just move on. Now we know what the story is.
yep,
Stop dragging it out for fucking 15 years.
yep. That's what I'm agreeing with. Stop dragging your feet on this one. Get this done, and make it happen so we can move on and we can figure out like whether we're going to like with this whole like, are they guilty? Are they not guilty by quote unquote the rulings? Blah blah blah. You know, I mean, are they going to get relegated? Are they going to get, as Daryl was saying, are they going to get a fine? Are they going to get no Champions Leagues? Ability to go, and that might get done. If they get found guilty, then that might apply. UEFA might and then say, hey, you obviously got found guilty for this, and apply it for Champions League going forward. And then also, will it be a transfer ban similar to what Chelsea had to go through, where they weren't able to bring in any transfers? Look, it's going to be a very, very interesting case for them. But
This is why
we
they
shall.
want that money, isn't it? This is why they all want that money fine system. It's
Yeah,
just, oh, well,
that way they can
yeah,
just pay
let's
the
just
fines and
go.
keep it
Yeah,
moving.
pay,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, it's paid off. That's why they all want
yeah,
that. Well, what if we just, pay with money? So, no,
yeah,
your advantage was a sporting advantage. So your sanction needs to be a sporting sanction. You
yes,
didn't make,
exactly.
that's what needs to be not lost at the cause, the root
I
cause
think
is.
it needs to be both. To be honest with you, it needs to be a
You
fine
are
and
both, but also, yeah, well, the money on top, yeah,
yeah.
also.
Because I
But you're
mean,
doing
like
things that,
realistically, you got
yeah,
Champions
you're
League, and
doing things that,
that got you the money that you can now pay off. These fines, great, but you also prevented other teams from getting into Champions League by you getting the funds. That's what like Luton and those teams were saying. Some of the biggest issues with them was, okay, great, you're going to punish these people, but big up, Cedric. Thank you, thank you. Um, yeah, you have like this case where like, great, you punish them by taking points or points away or even fining them the money. But guess what? The money that they use to get those players are still there, you know? So it's kind of like they got to buy these players or utilize these players from the money they got from the ill-gotten gains that they got, you know, in essence. And now they get to still get to reap the rewards with these players that they got with the, it's a real it's really ugly situation. Yeah, you don't want to get good. It's a headache to even think about.
And the problem is that they force you into making up punishments that you shouldn't have to make up. This is the issue. Like, you know, they shouldn't have misbehaved like this. So it's like, well, how far do you go? Do you take their trophies? Do you take their players? Do you take their, yeah? It's like there's no precedent for this. Yeah, because clubs did not used to do this shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they used to play by the rules. Not, you know, it was always a bit of this and that. But now you force us into making up, like, how the hell do we punish these guys? Like, it's not an easy job to figure out how you punish someone like that. Well, how far do you go? Like, do you go so far that they just react and appeal everything? Or do you basically, like what so many people who go to court over things find out, that, like, the prosecution, whoever it is that was going to take care of your thing for you, they said, look, the best we were ever going to get was this, so we went with it.
Yeah.
We could have gone all out, but the chances were against us. So to get a win, as it were, we went for this. Like, people aren't going to get what they want. People are not going to get City are getting relegated to League 3, and we're not getting 2 more Premier League titles, or, you know, Champions League. You know, that's not going to happen. It's just not. I don't know what they'll do. I really don't know what they'll do.
Daryl says if they get away with it, teams should boycott. Look, if they get away with it, then, you know, if they're innocent, they're innocent. But I mean, if they get away with it and we know that they're guilty, but they just, you know, get off on some technicality or some BS like that, different story. And I would even go as far as to say,
the previous one, the time barred. Remember that, the time barred? That was the
with the cast. Yeah.
It was, oh no, time's up. Sorry, time's up. And then they'll say, oh, we were innocent, because it's like, no, you weren't innocent. It was time barred. Literally, it was time barred. It's like, yeah, you got a speeding ticket.
You bought the time by delaying it, you know, and then not trying to give. You could have put it all to rest by, like, you know, doing what every other team does, which is like allow for us to see your books. But now all of a sudden you don't even want to do that. Yeah, so it's a really ugly situation. That, look, the Premier League has no one to blame but themselves, to be honest with you, by allowing for these individuals to be involved, these city-states, you know, to be involved in the league. You know, when you're dealing with countries now, dealing with, you know, kings and queens and sheiks and everything else, these, you know, they're used to not being told what they can and can't do.
Exactly. You've hit the nail on the head there. The likes of John Henry, the likes of Todd Bowley, the likes of Stan Kroenke, as much as they're not used to being told what they can and can't do in their daily life in America, yes, but they have laws, they have regulation. They have to, they may have to jump a few hoops, and of course they do. That's how they get rich, right? They know how to play the system, but they're a system. There are laws, there are regulations, there's all that. Those boys, the Saudis, the Qataris, the guys from Abu Dhabi, they make the rules. Nobody tells them what to do. And so you're bang on with that. They are not used to anyone telling them no. And if someone says that's not possible, they'll say, how much do I have to pay to fix it? How much do I have to pay to make it possible? They are absolutely not used to having to fall in line, as it were.
Nope.
That's a really big part of this. Like you said, kings and princes. They're literally kings and princes. They get what they want. They get what they want. These people get what they want.
Yep. And if you think that the government's going to save you, they are the government. You know, like they talk to the government directly because they are the government of their country. So, you know, so even that they have their hands even in that portion of the negotiations. So, but this is the world we're
Did you see
living
the
in right now.
alley? Did you see today they're trying with the alley stuff again? That was even in the Guardian.
Oh, Allison,
It was
Allison, yeah,
even in the. It was even in the Guardian.
yeah.
The line is out there now.
They're
It's
not
not
only
a
going for
transfer.
Ali, they're going for Ederson too.
Yeah, but that's the thing. These aren't transfer rumors, right? You could see.
Mhm.
I couldn't believe what I was reading. It was dressed up as a transfer rumor that they're interested in Mo and they're interested in Allison. That was
Mhm.
mentioned in the first line, and the next 8 paragraphs are all about how they're going to make the league more serious. They're not finished. They're going to spend more money. They're going to try and introduce foreign companies to sponsor some of the clubs that aren't directly controlled by the government. And
Mhm.
to spread, they're introducing new foreigner rules. So it was all basically a story about how they're not finished and they want to make it even more um, legitimate as a league. And they understand that some players have issues there, Henderson, etc. But the whole thing is like, yeah, they're not finished. It's not a joke. Oh, Allison and Salah, yeah. But anyway, on with the puff piece. They're going to spend more money. They're building. They're even talking about how the players. They're building Red Sea resorts that they want to let the players know about, and they
Mhm.
also mentioned the fact that basically one of these Red Sea resorts is where, like they're saying, the players could be living is
Mhm.
basically on the other side of the Red Sea as to where Salah goes on his holidays, Al Sharaf or something. So it's basically on the Egyptian side, and they're on the
Mhm.
Saudi side of the Red Sea. So they're saying, oh, it's even like it's basically the same place Salah goes on his holidays. I was like, what am I reading here? Like, who wrote this? Was this written by MBS? It's like, oh, they're going to do everything, and they're going to make it so much better for the Western players to come over. It's like, geez, lads. But yeah, and I was like, oh, they want, and by the way, they want Allison as well. Like, okay, we can fuck off because you're not getting him. No way. No way Ali goes to Saudi this summer.
No
No
way does
chance.
Ali say that his career
No chance.
is done.
Yeah,
Again, there's other reasonings that
Bless Cedric.
I personally believe that he wouldn't decide on making that
no way.
that move.
No chance.
Just like culturally and just in the sense of professionally. I don't think that Ali's looking at himself saying that he's so in love with money that he needs to make this move before it's too late type deal. No, that's not the case. What is going
Not
to play for
people.
some team in the Saudi league get you other than cash? Because you're not going
Yeah,
there
he's not.
because you
He's
think
not a
you
left
can.
winger, is he? He's not a left winger that relying on his pace. He's a keeper. He can play for another
Yeah,
10 years.
yeah,
He doesn't need to go. Like he's not. He's not young as a goalkeeper. He's
right,
not old. He's kind of peaked. 30, 31.
yeah,
There's none of it. None of the Ali story makes zero sense.
mhm,
Why not link? I don't know. Why not link Darwin Nunes or something? The Ali one makes zero sense. So I don't know. Salah obvious, but Ali no.
yeah.
Mhm.
So tomorrow is DeLorean time. What's up? JK dropped out for a second. I think his phone died. What is on? There he's back. What is on the dial that we're gonna be setting the DeLorean back for tomorrow? Do you have it? I know we promised our birthday boy he would be able to pick the game this time. People slighted
Yeah.
me for my Luton pick last time, even though this is probably gonna be the last time we got to say Luton and Liverpool for a while at least. Shout out to the T boys out there. But like still I gave you a Stevie G hat trick in that game. Do you have the game that we're gonna be doing this Thursday?
I think we should do again. I don't know if people are going to love it, but it's not going to be the world's most high scoring game. But I have wanted to do the Torres debut.
Right.
The game against Chelsea, we could do that. I don't know.
That's the game then. There's no handsome. Nah, it's what birthday boy gets it.
That's it then. That's it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the birthday. We promised it because like we actually I think that Thursday was your birthday. I think
It was. Yeah. It was. Yeah.
so.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So yeah. So if you guys would do us the pleasure of joining us tomorrow when we fire up the DeLorean, that'd be much appreciated. It's gonna be a fun time. I know JK is not gonna be able, or he might be able to join us for a little bit of it, but he might have to leave. I'm not certain, but all the same, I know Brian will be here with us for that. Hopefully you will be as well.
Just remind people as well what the concept is.
Mhm.
No, it's
You
just
want
that
me
it
to?
is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no,
Brian,
yeah. It's a retro watch along. It's a full match. We're going to watch the 90 minutes of an older game, so it'll be the Torres debut tomorrow night. So yeah, that's the concept. It's we're getting a DeLorean, going back in time, setting the dial to what is it? 07?
Yep.
Is it 07? Yeah. So it'll be yeah. And also,
so far we've done
before-
2006 and we've done 2008. I think are the 2 years we've done. So now we're going back to 2007, which would be cool.
yeah, it's Rafa era. You know, it's a bit of a just look, a drop back in time to see some of the players that we've forgotten about, but also some of the real legends here, like the Alonsos and these kind of guys that we really should be watching more. We should be
Wow.
watching them more. You know, we should be watching them more.
Wow. I know you didn't mean it like that, but the way it sounded did not sound good. The real legends. I was like, huh? Anyway. Anyhow. Brian, JK, anything you want to say, JK, before we let the people go?
Nah, great show, bro. And look,
Excuse me.
and watching old games is a good thing. You can realize where your club comes from, you know.
Yeah,
100%.
100%.
Yeah, I just got to drop in that we've again. This is a bit chaotic, but I forgot to do it. But it's our on this day.
Oh,
it's our
yes.
on this
Who's-
day. On this day.
Yeah.
Okay, now it's not brilliant. I'm going to say it's not brilliant. So I'm going to go outside the box a little bit.
Mhm.
So for all our American fans out there, Emmett Smith was born on this day.
Okay.
He didn't go on mad, did he? Is he
That's
controversial?
bold to say that on the Philadelphia Eagle. Like I'm an Eagles
Oh,
fan.
okay. Is that controversial? Okay, right. Sorry. Yeah, I didn't know.
So anybody back home, I didn't bring that up.
Okay, well, we've got Tony Brown from the Seahawks as well. Is that worse?
No,
But
that's better. That's okay.
I think what we have got is a very interesting one. We've got the De Boer brothers. Frank and Ronald De Boer were born on this day.
Mm-hmm. Tauruses. Mm-hmm.
So, and dishonorable mentions to Patrice Evra, boo, and current Arsenal CEO type guy, Edu, boo. But no, I'm giving it to the De Boer brothers. I'm trying to find it. Where are you from, Philly? Oh, hang on. Hey, Tony Drake.
Okay.
Philadelphia Eagles tackle Tony Drake,
Yep.
born on this day in 1972. There you
Yep.
go. There you
There
go.
you go. There you go. Not
I've got
necessarily a
one as well,
legend, but I got you. Tony Drake. Yes. For
Was
sure.
he Was he good? No, was
I
he
mean,
not that?
he wasn't even. I don't think he started, but he played.
Oh,
But it's
well,
all
the
good.
internet remembers him. The internet remembers him. They know he's
Yeah,
doing
they're
on
never
this stuff.
him, and we appreciate him too. I appreciate him too. It's better
I
than
got-
bringing
Yeah.
Emmett Smith. Emmett Smith.
I'm sure that
Okay,
Emmett
yeah,
Smith's
I
been
wasn't.
in.
Wait,
Emmett Smith is
dude,
like bringing up like I'm about to say Emmett Smith's like bringing up like Gary Neville's birthday or something like that. That's what it's like. You know, he's a player that they won Super Bowls with him. Fun that guy. When it comes
I'm
to
sure
that.
that guy he's been in like Big Bang Theory or
No, you're thinking Emmett Smith was in Dancing with the Stars. So
okay.
that's probably where
I heard his name
you've seen him
before.
before. Yeah, that's probably where you've seen him. Because I think he won Dancing with the Stars. I think he won it.
Okay. But on this day, I got another one for you quickly. Michael Owen, Heskey, and Danny Murphy played their last games for us
Oh
against
wow.
Newcastle, 1-1.
Now that's a very interesting very interesting on this day. That's
we
crazy.
lost them all in the same summer.
Yep.
We sold Owen and Heskey in the same summer.
It was the last games for us, sure.
That's fucking like.
You
That's
look like
crazy.
it's almost like you just read the newspaper like right now.
No, I didn't. No,
It's
like,
like it just happened again for you.
Yeah, it just happened again.
You're like,
Salah
what?
and Diaz.
What?
no, it's just like. No, I mean, honestly, I've just spent the last year doing football quizzes and football research and shit. And shit has never come up. That point, like, that should be a massive point that we lost both of them in the same summer. Owen and Heskey were awesome. That's insane how we lost it because everyone remembers Owen leaving. But Big Emil and Danny Murphy as well. All the
2004.
big parts of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
20 years
just
ago.
before just before we won the Champions League and just after we'd won the treble.
Yep.
If Owen had just stayed one more year, if Murphy stays one more year, yeah, Rafa sold Heskey. Yes, of course he did. Rafa didn't want Heskey. Now I remember. Oh man, yeah, happy
It's all
times,
come back.
happy times.
It's all come back to you now, huh?
Yeah, Heskey, man. Remember some of those games we've been watching recently? Heskey was a beast.
He was a beast.
Heskey was an absolute beast.
Yeah.
And he could score. I think he'd do well in the game today. I think he would do well, Heskey.
I know what you mean. Mm-hmm. He'll be a better Danny Welbeck.
I can see
Type of
him that
player.
kind of bet. Yeah. But he, like, the way, when you bring in a player, like, the way everyone is set up, like, tactics are cyclical. So everyone is set up to not have to play against a certain type of player. That's why Haaland is having the impact he is, because basically the number nines disappeared to a degree, and Haaland is not something that people are used to dealing with. If you were to bring in a Heskey today into the modern game and just just fuck with things, that'll happen again. I think in 15 years' time. I mean, yeah, I reckon probably 10 years' time, there'll be a lot more number nines than there are now, because people will realize that no one has one. Then you bring one in, it messes the game up.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll go back to being a more number nine thing rather than the whole Pep Guardiola thing of having 10 Bernardo Silvas. It'll move around again. It has to. It can't stay the same. Football will always evolve. It will always change. So I can see, like, the death of the number nine, the death of the number 10 is more systems based, but the player itself, you throw in I think that's what they meant with Nunes and the chaos and that stuff. Yeah, hopefully it comes back, because there's not enough of them. Just pure goal scorer.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting. I have some fun stuff to bring up tomorrow. Hopefully you guys can all be with us tomorrow. I'm gonna be landing. Well, the plane's been landed for a while. We're just sitting here taxiing. But we're going to allow for you to go on to your destinations. I'm sure if there isn't someone out there or someplace else that you need to go, hey, take the day off, enjoy it, rest, get relaxed, and then hop in the DeLorean with us tomorrow and have some fun reminiscing, or maybe seeing the game for the first time, possibly. So whichever the case is, I'm going to ask that you continue to do your best to maintain and be taking care of yourself, as well as doing the best you can in taking care of your loved ones in your life. I'm also going to ask this one last thing. If you can, please do share this with your friends, your families, your family, your foes, your rivals, the neutrals. Doesn't matter. We're trying to make an inclusive forum, a community that is obviously foremost and utmost inclusive to fellow Reds that want to enjoy loving the conversations that we have, for those of us that have one I'm not even gonna go there. One team that we call our own, it is the Reds for me, and I know it is for Brian and JK and you as well. So let's enjoy this time that we have to create these forums. Let's enjoy this moment that we're going to have tomorrow to see the flashback of Torres's debut, and then we can focus in on Jurgen's last game at home for this club. It's gonna be an emotional week, to say the least. But all the same, as long as we walk together, we can accomplish and succeed at anything. So I appreciate the fact that you're here and that you do that with us. So tomorrow,
quickly, can I just say, just quickly, can I say, I didn't want to interrupt, but I know it's a YouTube thing where people will subscribe more if you tell them you have a goal, and we never do this. We literally never do this. We're on 329, so let's get 330. Let's get 330 with tiny goal. Tiny goal. Let's round it up to 330 tonight. So if you haven't subscribed, let's round it up to 330. We don't want 332. We're humble. Just 330.
There you go. And until then, as always, up the Reds.
Adios.
Peace.